Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd. Did I say two experiences?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We'll give you the pass this week. Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
Good evening.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Kamar, any new patrons?
Huck 2. Actually, there are new patrons. This is an important
It's
announcement.
a week late. They've already beat the meme to death.
And he's huck-toing us.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
This is a Patreon who, despite all odds, persevered, stayed at Patreon, even though it made his marriage and life fall apart. So big shout out to Jesse Genius back. Thank you very much.
That's just weird.
It's a little more admirable than every single other person who's ever been on Patreon. Like,
No.
he was
Don't tear
family
down.
away
Do
to
not
listen to
tear
us.
down other patrons, you fucking
If
dipshit.
there are other patrons out there in the same boat, we'd like to know about it. How
No,
about
I
that?
don't want to know that we've whatever
Broke up a bunch
great,
of marriages.
Great, yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks to
Talking
him.
about sacrifice.
Yeah.
And also a big shout out to Dallas Al-Raza, who seems like we might have a sheik on our hands here, boys. And,
Shout out Dallas.
Dallas
Thank you,
Al-Zara. Thank you so much to all the patrons, past and present. Join the Patreon for the post the show directly after the show. Like and subscribe.
Kamar's drunk.
Get that
Let's
out, brother.
Let's just get this out of the way now.
Get that out.
Hey,
It's 1 p.m.
it's Festival Kamar.
on a Sunday, and Festival Kamar is here, and he has 3 sheets to the wind. I'd be amazed if he made it out of this.
It's the summer of Kamar.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with.
you wanna go to the-
I have a couple of things I want to say, actually. Number one, I read your little blurb
Yeah,
on the episode this week.
yeah.
Didn't care for it.
Whoa,
I don't even remember it.
whoa.
Oh,
What do
because-
you not care for? That someone died?
No,
pronounced dead?
because I said Simon. I said Simon's married now, and he had to kill Festival
That's
Simon years
exactly
ago.
what I just said.
It has nothing to do with your marriage. It was a joke.
Sure, fine.
Is Festival Simon still somewhere
Even
alive?
if I was not married, I would still not go there.
I'm aware.
I guess
Yeah.
is my point.
I wasn't trying to blame your marriage on killing
No.
Festival Simon.
I didn't like the whole
No,
connotation.
you made it seem like he couldn't do what he wanted to do if he wanted to do something.
Look, we all wanted.
No, you
hold on,
made it
stop.
seem like I was hating on Kamar because he's out there living a life I wish I had.
And ironically, he's living that life wishing he did not have it.
Can I just say something? Can I say something?
Write the own damn blurb. That's what he wants to say.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's gonna be the end of it. But like, I just don't think you get that when you leave here, you just walk the fuck out. You drive this drunk asshole home. You drive out to the country and you
Yeah,
sit by the
someone's
fucking
gotta
water.
pick up the
Okay, you're
pieces,
mad
Simon.
at deer. I'm the one sitting there at 4:30 in the morning, angry. The last thing I have to do is write some bullshit blurb about an episode that I just listened to twice.
I'm making a TikTok channel about me against the deer.
You should, yeah. I bet it'll, yeah.
It's going to be big.
I felt like you heard me.
And then the other thing was, so I went up to my in-laws this weekend. My brother-in-law was like, hey, I told some of the guys at work to listen to your podcast. I'm like, oh, that's a mistake.
I always tell people, please don't.
And he's like, and they listened to it and they said, it's just 3 idiots talking about things. And I said, oh, they get it.
Yeah. What do you
That's
think
a
a
weird way
podcast
not to
is?
cry.
That's what
out
I
loud,
asked.
man.
I was like, what do you think a podcast is? Anyways, I thought it was funny.
Did you
my
tell
God.
him that I had won a Oscar and a Super Bowl?
Yeah, that you were one away from your EGOT.
Did you tell them that?
Yeah, I told them.
I'm so sorry, listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Follow the algorithm. Join the Patreon.
Who is driving this boat?
Dude, Jiminy Glick is interviewing the guy from Will and Grace, and he's like, I hear you have a podcast. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I didn't know you were broke.
Too close to home.
Kamar, you want to go over the guest list so we can do what we do here?
I'd love to, brother Matt. The week started off with 2168 Tyler Fisher. He's a little man.
He's a little man. What the fuck?
Followed by 2169 Protect Our Parks, which, as we turned out in the Tyler Fisher episode, was filmed before.
Number 11 or number 13? What was it?
12.
12. Are you just taking a stab in the dark?
No, I'm looking
It
at the
was
number.
12?
I just
Okay, nice.
not expecting to be fucking called out in front of my friends. And
The
the week,
sensitive drunks coming out. Wasn't just better to be called
the
out in
week
front of
finished off
friends.
with 2171 Max Laverne.
That can't be right.
Yeah. His name, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I think that was pretty close.
Like Laverne and Shirley.
Anyway, what do you rate it?
I give it a 1.
You give it a 1. You give the
Max
week a 1.
Lugavere. Okay, so not close.
I knew it was an L. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I should have known.
He got the max part right.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Okay, well, he gave the week a 1.
Oh, well, okay. Let's. I give the week a. I mean, it was not a good week.
It wasn't a 1.
I mean, it depends on what you rate the Protect Our Parks, I guess. I would give it a 2.
Yeah, I'll match that too, sure. Nah, I'll go 2.5. Fuck it. Better than it was a bang average week. How about that? But 3 is a nice number. And this 2 hours of podcast, I could get used to that.
The new normal.
Didn't know normally.
How
Yeah.
many hours of podcast?
Other than Protect Our Parks, lately they've all been
I
like
see.
2. Like Protect Our Parks is always going to be a 4-hour deal. I don't
Well, it
think we're
was only
avoiding
3 hours, so he's
But there-
actually
you see
getting
what I'm- this is what I'm
shorter
saying.
and shorter. Not Joe. He's short enough already.
that. Wow.
Wow, starting off where I left off
You know
last
what?
week.
I'm not mad at that, man. Let's start a beef. Imagine you and Joe in a fucking no cage match, no gi.
No cage.
2170 Max Lagerver.
If Joe wants to fight me, I'll do that. I'll fight Joe.
Would you?
Yes,
You would get leg kicked into oblivion?
I would fight Joe. If Joe feels like it would be a good look for him to fight some no-name podcaster from Ottawa, I would definitely be into that.
What's the over-under, Kamar? How long do you think Simon lasts in that inside
I think
fight?
you should just be an
I'm a
intelligent older
winner
man and
no
say, I
matter
am
what,
not
man.
qualified at all to be
I am
involved
a
in this.
winner
No.
no matter what.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, you're giving me way too much time.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you just wearing bike shorts?
Like all he has to do is
No,
clear the distance between us.
Yeah, all I'm
and
thinking
it's
though is
done.
Joe's not going to rush
are
you a la
are
fucking
you just wearing
Masvidal.
bike shorts?
Am I wearing bike shorts?
Are
Do
wearing
you
a
want
gi?
me to
No.
wear bike
Are you
shorts?
just naked?
Yeah, I'm fighting Joe naked.
Because that's a good way to thwart an
Yeah.
attack is getting
he
naked.
he thinks we're going to be fighting in gis, but I'm just going to show up naked.
I would just surrender.
What's that line? Are we fighting or fucking? Because either way, I'm getting naked.
What's that from?
I saw it on the internet. This dude's like,
That's great.
he like puts
Matt
his dukes
for
up.
the
He's like,
win.
are we fighting
Matt
or fucking?
for the win.
What else you got, Kamar?
2170 Max Laverne.
What else have you got? He hasn't even started.
No, he
yet.
doesn't have notes for this one either.
I do. But here's the deal. Everyone's different.
Tell. Oh,
Yeah, everyone's
Diet
different.
wise,
we'll
Yeah.
be right back.
Yeah,
gut biome,
yeah.
diets. There was a bit of a friction in this episode between full carnivore versus carnivore with supplements or whatever.
Fiber with fiber,
With fiber. Thank you, Simon.
brother Simon. Was this? So we are talking about Max Lugavere.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's thank you for adding that.
Well, let's start with this. It was a Matrix moment because I brought to this podcast a couple weeks ago that most places in the world call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. And Simon didn't believe me. We looked it up. And
Simon
Do you
Pashad.
think that's a fast one?
what do you mean it's a fast one?
To classify as type 3 diabetes is less alarmist than like Alzheimer's seems more.
No, I don't think it makes a difference. I just think if it's tied to diabetes, we should know as a people, right? Like if it's like if health wise it has a link to diabetes, wouldn't you rather know that? Because I understand it's called Alzheimer's because the doctor that
So why aren't they treating Alzheimer's with like insulin?
well, I think this guy was saying they've started. I don't know. He said they have a bunch of experimental things that will block the calcium. Not calcium, it's calcified, right?
So in other places, like if you go to like Sweden, they call there is no word Alzheimer's.
No, I think they still might.
Question mark.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I've never gotten medical treatment abroad, nor have I don't suffer from diabetes or Alzheimer's.
One of the things that has the word expert advice changed in the last 2 years. Experts
Because of COVID?
Because of everything. Everything that's related to experts that, like, no one wants to come out and show their record.
Well,
be an expert at being
this guy
right.
said, I'm a non-scientist scientist. And Halima was in the car with me and she said, what the fuck does that mean?
I say things, but I don't actually do the science. Yeah.
No, I do the research, but I don't need your degree to tell me whether I'm right or wrong. And then I told her that it helps people not get stuck into like doctrine set by institutions. It lets people be a little more free in their thinking because you're not having to conform to like what the Rockefeller Book of Medicine tells you is Alzheimer's when really it's type 3 diabetes, you know?
No, you bring up a good point. Like, listen, the whole idea is that I write a thesis, a paper, right? That says like, I think you can cure diabetes or Alzheimer's using X, Y, and Z. And like you're saying, if 9 paid doctors write, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, if they write, oh, this is bullshit, then all of a sudden that paper's buried and gone and it's bullshit forever because those 9 guys said, yeah.
Well, there's that. And then there's two, like, I don't know, let's say you're writing a paper on whatever and the school doesn't like what you're writing. Like, you're not going to publish that paper. You're not going to publish that paper. Yeah, the school that's paying you, you're not going to publish that paper. Or like, what was the thing with like serotonin in your brain or dopamine in your brain, and you're using
Dendrites?
Do you need me to pat you on the back?
Dendrites?
No, and you use SSRIs to raise those levels, but now they're finding out that's not even a thing. So everybody who was taught between the years of 1965 and 2024, you're not going to get a change in those practices. You're not going to get a change in those practices until the doctors who are learning that today and end up as doctors, which could still be another 20 years.
Well, no, hold on. You're doing
At least.
Well, wait. The idea of being a doctor is that you're supposed to read all the new literature. Just, hold on. You don't let me finish. I realize that most of them probably don't. It's very difficult to be a full-time doctor as well as keep up on every single medical innovation.
I don't even think that's it. I think you could end up reading the literature, but if all of your peers are still doing it the other way, you're not going to be that one guy in the crowd to like risk your reputation. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people are cow-tied by these systems.
Well, one of the points he made is that around the world, someone has this bacteria. Like, we do not have a uniform gut biome. Like, we are all the exact same inside, so we can know what affects inside. This person has that. It does affect you, but you go there, you get diarrhea.
Yeah, but that's what fucking allergies are, right?
No, but I saw.
Well, they said they should have had peanuts in their crib when kids were born.
No, I'm just saying though, like I can eat lettuce and I'm great, and you eat lettuce and you have diarrhea. We just process those things differently. Like you said, we have different gut biome.
I saw some treatment though where they're treating a bunch of different ailments by like, and this is going to sound gross, but they like inject other people's feces into you.
I read all about it.
Yeah, I'm on a waiting
all
list.
about it.
Yeah, and it gives you their gut biome, I guess. So like you can strengthen your own
but
gut biome.
you have to have another person's poop inside
You have to
of
shove their shit up your ass.
Well, I think it's a little more medical than that. I don't think it's you just packing your own anus full of someone's
I
shit.
was riding my guy at work to do it because he was very skinny and in good health, but he just didn't want to give it up.
He was running some clinics where
Yeah.
he was helping people shove the poop back up their butts. It seems counterintuitive.
Would you smuggle acid in your nutsack to Morocco?
No.
Didn't think so.
In my nutsack? What does that even mean?
That's my type of guy.
In like underneath your nutsack.
Gotcha.
But why are you bringing acid into Morocco?
Because we want to have a party.
I'm sure you can get acid in Morocco.
Do you think it's crazy to now, or say it was more trusted the Health Canada or FDA, like these agencies, at one point, or has their validity eroded at all with you? Say in the last 10 years, you think if they let something through, it must be good for me. but all the sugar, all the drinks, all the caffeine things that have gone through.
What were we talking about remember I was telling you a couple of weeks ago about like these giant brands that shape kind of the way things are right now?
There's not a lot of them. Like a couple of corporations.
No, but who make, Kellogg's or whoever who make sugar cereal or who make sugar part of that triangle
Are conspiring to poison the population. Indirectly or directly.
Yes, sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Simon, I don't know. I don't know how true this is. I saw it on the internet, so we'll leave it at that. But apparently, like I know you've talked about it many times, but the Chicago's World Fair in like 1894 or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw this guy going over the list of, he's like, if you were at this thing, what you would have seen for the first time. It's insane.
Go on.
I can't remember the list, but it's like all these
But
staples.
it's like vacuum cleaner, Kleenex,
Sure,
Windex,
not even that. Yeah. It's
whatever,
like massive companies that became huge multinational conglomerates through because
that was the version of the internet back then. You were reaching so many people at once who were all going to go home and tell
I
10
tried
people
Kellogg's.
I went to the World's Fair and I saw this machine that picks up dirt from the floor and we don't have to sweep anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's what those things were
come
for.
so far, eh?
What do you mean? Well, the World's Fair happened.
But I think there were World's Fair,
I like
and then
Simon's
there were
support on this
satellite.
Yeah, there was like
fairs
expos.
where
I get
a
it.
smaller town would have these things
Matt
roll
has
into
come
town.
some distance from where he was when we started this.
I feel like Matt has started like watching TikTok or something just recently.
No, I don't want to make too big a deal about it to make him self-conscious and pull back. But,
Simon, Matt is over 40. He watches his TikToks on Instagram like a real 40-year-old.
Okay.
that
you
is
can
the
see
weirdest
the TikTok,
denial in
like-
the fucking world.
Why is it denial? I don't have TikTok. I've never been on it.
I don't know what TikTok is, but every video I watch is TikTok, but it says Instagram, so it's not TikTok. So you're TikToking third party? I don't know. I'm not a good person.
I'm giving my information to an American company. How about that, Simon? Or Kamar? I'm not a good person.
There's definitely this thing where, did you think at every time in your life, if you would eat fat, like I would go to, say, the gristle on a steak or something like that, you'd be like, if I eat that fat, that'll just become fat in my body.
No.
But I
I mean,
did.
maybe when I was like 4.
I didn't think that, but I did think that was bad for me. Like, I don't know if it is bad for you, but I always thought that was the things that clogged your arteries and shit.
But that's
And
not the case at all.
It's not the case. It's like the opposite.
It's
of
processed
the case.
food and sugars you eat that create whatever these.
That's
Calcium
the biggest lie.
buildups.
Love you guys.
The biggest lie was the sugar. Like you just never, like growing up, everything was
Ongoing.
especially for us. Like,
Ongoing lie.
well, no, we're all hip to the jive now, but like, you know what I mean? Like when we grew up, everything was fucking sugar,
Yeah.
sugar,
Well,
sugar,
even
sugar.
something like corn syrup.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's not that bad. It's corn syrup. It's syrup from corn, which is a vegetable, and we all should eat vegetables all the time.
And we all love corn.
We
The
all
best.
love corn.
Have you talked to someone in your 20s lately?
No.
They talk to you like you're really dumb.
Yeah, but that's how we spoke to old people. when I
Yeah,
was 20.
no, that is how
absolutely.
we
I'm just
spoke
saying I don't know if we're on the same page. Like you said, we're all hip to the jive of sugar. I think it's a generational
Why they know? You think kids don't know that sugar's bad for you?
for sure sugar was bad for us when we were kids and we could have known it.
Do you remember the moment? Did you watch the American version of Squid Games, the game show? Do you know what I mean? The one
Yeah.
on
Yeah, yeah,
Netflix. The but not the real Squid Games, which
Yeah,
was
the
a
game
game
show.
show. The game
Yeah, the
show
actual
version.
game show
Okay.
Squid Games with the black dude who was a real prick.
So you remember it got to like a point where they were playing the marble game, I think, and they had
Mm-hmm.
to like combine together decide.
how the marble game works and who's going through. Yeah.
Remember there was that one the guy and the girl, and they were like so obtuse to each other they couldn't decide on what was a fair way to do it.
Yeah.
And they ended
And they
up
were both gonna leave,
timing
and-
out, and you're like yelling at the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is this generation. There is.
You think they're the indecisive generation?
No, I think it's an entitled generation where that person believes as much as that person that they deserve that thing. Where a normal person would just be like, there's some, I'll make a concession, but there are no concessions anymore because everybody, because of the internet, I think, believes that their worth is more than it actually is.
I would submit that we saw people do stuff and saw their hard work, and it maybe took it 3 years or 4 years or whatever it took. And now there's more people seeing someone do it in 2 weeks and them now feeling more of an onus. Whereas like there is something to like struggling at something and achieving versus thinking it's just going to happen. Like a Hawk 2 girl, she had no, and she's probably done already.
Simon, I think the difference is that when we grew up, there was only like a few avenues to riches and fame. Whereas now it's like, I get what you're saying. Like one of the best things that ever happened to me was just realizing I'm just mediocre and I'm never going to be anything other than that. And I'm probably just going to stay at this level forever. It's tough at first, but then you're like, you know what? Most people just are. Most of us walking around are just mediocre. It's the bell curve. That's how it fucking works. Some people are less than, some people are better than. But most of us are just walking around just being fucking mediocre.
Yeah, or you're great and you just don't get rewarded for it.
I think that happens less than we
I
think.
think that's your case. But you know what I've been trying to do as a man on the street? Is ask people, would you rather be rich and unhappy or poor and happy? Enough people say rich and unhappy. Let me have a go of it.
I think it's because most people are poor and unhappy, so they're like, why not just throw money on
Throw
this
it out.
scenario and make it all better? Like,
and other people say the right thing.
Seems
Like,
like
I'd just rather be happy.
not a great question.
yeah.
But the key is to watch your diet. I have found my challenge in trying to be carnivore is texture.
You're not still carnivore.
I have relapsed.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think you come drunk to a podcast at 1 p.m, but you're still holding strong to your carnivore diet. I feel like that probably went off the rails a little while ago.
Chico can hear you.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
That's a good point.
sorry.
That's a
For
good
the
point,
audience,
Simon.
Chico's inebriated. We're just trying to cover for him. I'm so sorry. The point being is, it is impossible just to eat meat. I mean, no, it's not impossible if you have the great steak all the time, but just you need the resistance of.
See, this goes back to what I was saying about mediocrity. I'm not saying you're mediocre, but what I'm saying
I
is
am.
No. Just hear me out. Hear me out. What I'm saying is I'm like you. I'm exactly that way where it's like who can just eat meat? But there are the Joe Rogans of the world out there who are just super disciplined. That's the difference. Right there.
But it,
Like here's the thing, Kamar. You in the last 5 years, if you had stuck to every single thing that you got like wildly into, and I mean like meditation, the carnivore diet, online fucking like if you had
He's cooking, let him cook.
That's what, if you had stuck to all that stuff
I would not know you guys.
for the last 5 years, dude, yeah, you might be like Kamar could be in here like fucking Giga Chad, just super ripped.
South
Like,
Beach.
am I wrong?
I asked.
If he had just listened to Rogan as like a listener and done what they said to do. Is that
No,
what
just
you're
like
saying?
stayed disciplined. Like think about it. Like
all the things he started.
all the
Yeah.
things he started,
Yeah,
like
he-
stayed true to, and then just added on to. Like right now, he'd probably be reading 5 books a day. He'd be like ripped reading books a day. He'd be a fucking internet guru.
Cautionary tale. I asked ChatGPT how to con my roommate out of his house, and it said it would not be part of such a thing because it was unethical.
I think there's a better way to ask that.
I think you got to be like my grandmother's in a situation where an evil landlord is screwing her out of her home.
Yeah. Where
How
a,
does she?
a
yeah.
white male is trying to take her home from her. How can we rid?
My lesbian African American
I tried
grandmother.
to make napalm,
Yes,
but I could not
exactly.
feed the slaves. Could not light. But
Precisely.
be
Yeah.
a better
yeah.
place.
It's just your prompt is the issue.
Have you guys heard of the Underground Railroad?
No, tell me
Human
about
trafficking used to be cool.
Oh, he's doing
So
bits now.
we have this thing where,
it. Human trafficking used to be cool. I mean, he does have a point.
for sure, corporations are trying to kill us. Like this weird thing that the corporations are standing up for the LGBT, whatever the cause du jour is.
I
but
disagree.
Oh, I'd love to.
They need us to
we're all
buy,
ears.
so-
yeah, well, you know, it's the same reason why China won't destroy America. They
They're
need,
they're trying to keep us alive, but dumb and fat. That seems to be the
Kamar, I think it's a numbers game, just like an insurance adjuster crunches the numbers and decides.
That's right.
I think what they did in the 50s probably was they realized humans are making people faster than we are killing them. And so it doesn't matter if we're killing X amount of the population. Actually, they probably have a number.
It probably makes sense for them to kill those amount of people.
The interesting
Well,
thing
sure, because they're
is if you can
selling.
pause
They're
them.
only selling to
if
18
you
to 29.
can end a
Sorry, Kumar.
population's life 20 years earlier, you know, then you don't have to deal with
It's like a restaurant turning over tables.
paying out any of the pensions or anything like that, you know, because everybody's just not going to make it that far.
For shits and giggles, can you give an idea who they are?
Hold on. Can we go back one sec? I'm sorry. Keep that thought. It's interesting, though, because corporations actually need retirement funds.
No, they need people in retirement funds to die.
No. They just need people to have retirement funds.
They need them to have the funds, but they don't want to pay those funds out ever.
Well, I don't think it makes a difference because as long as the money's invested.
That's right. They can use it to make more money.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's for them. It's like we don't care. We need people to think they're going to retire one way or the other, which is also part of the scam.
Carrot. It's a carrot.
Yeah.
I just think it makes more sense for them to keep you alive until you're 70. After that, you probably don't buy very much. So you're just a nuisance to them. And if you're not around and they can just bring in the next batch, like that seems like it would make sense.
I also think, Kamar, you're forgetting that like there's certain legacy corporations that, let's take tobacco. That's the oldest cash crop in the United States. It's been around since before the US. So it's tough to kill off. Like when they find out in the 40s, it's actually killing people. The cigarette company, if you think about it, they don't want that to be the case. They don't want to kill people. They want everyone to be able to smoke cigarettes, 10 packs a day, and have no health issues. Because, like Simon's saying, if they can make you smoke.
Yeah, that was the worst thing that ever happened to the...
They're cool enough,
saying.
though. They're cool enough to pivot to Zyn or Zonic or fucking whatever. Whereas the food, like, I think about the cereals and just shit that... Whereas as I got older, I found it like raw cheese or whatever was tasted better. It was more interesting. I don't know if it was more expensive, but we just
But to go back,
totally given processed food as good stuff.
but I want to go back
for it.
That's your initial point. Is like those corporations, Kamar. They realized along the way, they were like, we can fucking fuck with the food to make it cheaper, and we don't care if it's losing nutrients or losing whatever. We're gonna.
And I think that's a bad thing.
No, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, in their eyes, they're like the population has only grown. It hasn't gone down over the
It
last
would be
50
the
years.
same thing as someone working on Facebook and having an addictive algorithm, little
Sure.
other kids on, whatever. I know it's bad, but
Yeah, like you
they
got to
have
realize
to get a bottom line.
a corporation is only there to make money. They don't care about people. And life is actually the most abundant thing on this earth. Life is cheap as fuck. We create life all the time. So corporations don't care if the same way war.
But like we said, they do need people to buy their products, so they
But
can't
we always will.
completely kill them. Ideally, they'd have the killer and the cure.
Yeah.
That's sort of the idea. That's not how it goes, but
When you go to like Europe and places and you look at their processed food, it's totally different than our processed
They don't
food.
really have processed food.
Well, they don't, but when they do, it's like done using fresh ingredients. You know what I mean? It's like, and you would think that a country like Canada, who has medicine for the people, what do we call that?
Socialized medicine.
Socialized medicine.
Yes, it behooves us to have a healthier society.
Way
across the
healthier.
board.
Like they should make
or less
it.
pressure on the system.
They should make it. I was just thinking about this the other day, actually. If a place like McDonald's, if you want to do business in Canada, you can't use the same ingredients you're using in the United States. We have a certain set. We want our beef to be this, and we want our buns to be this. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. And you know what will happen? Somebody else will come up in your place, like an A&W or whoever.
No,
who
McDonald's will just do it.
Who will be willing? No, I'm saying if they don't think that this
But
is enough
in the
money for
exact
them
same-
up here, somebody else will step in. It'll be a Canadian company and they'll do it to the Canadian standards. The fact that they don't do that, sorry, Kamar, the fact that they don't do that tells you that they're absolutely in bed with the companies who are feeding you this slop.
But shouldn't it be sort of in the same vein as you have to put all your messaging in French and English if you want to do business here? That same sort of authority. Like we are a pussy country.
How so?
I don't remember the last time we did not go along with the norm or whatever.
This has nothing to do with our countries, though. This has to do with like what would be economically better for any country who had socialized medicine.
But so the thing was in New York, we thought it was crazy talk. They're like banning big gulps or whatever, right? The same sort of measure here, because in the long run, we'll have less people with diabetes going through our healthcare system, which is for free.
Yeah.
This sort of preventative idea.
If you want to have that option, which you're right, you're an adult, you should be able to decide. A Big Mac gets taxed the same way that cigarettes do then.
But back it up. You don't even have to do that. Listen, if McDonald's can make the Big Mac not so processed,
that's right. This is
that
my
it's
point
not
in the
killing
first
you,
But it costs $1 more.
That's
or whatever.
right.
then you don't have to tax it at any level. Like you just say, hey, McDonald's, you can make a hamburger that is normally unhealthy,
right.
as in like it's got some saturated fats and some salt, and like maybe you shouldn't eat a hamburger every day. But if you have a burger from McDonald's a week, it's not going to fucking kill you.
But that would be Canada saying this is our standard. If you want to work here,
That's right.
This way you have to live. We are not that country.
Well,
we
should
are. We regulate
absolutely
everything.
be that.
What are you, fucking nuts?
And you
We
just
regulate the
talked
shit
about
out
how
of
they
everything.
made you put English and French on all of it. Like they do that, except for the things that actually
I would argue
matter.
only Quebec does that. I think our country is spineless.
Okay, sure, fine. They are spineless. I'm just saying, economically speaking, it would be in the country's best interest to do something like that.
Because of our healthcare system, maybe be different if we had.
Well, again, what Simon was saying was the reason Europe has very little processed food is because every country has socialized medicine.
And they
so
don't
they know
wanna
it's for
pay
the
out.
betterment.
That's more of a burden if the population is consuming that to the healthcare system.
I think that's
course,
probably
yes.
a fiscal thing for the countries more than they care about their people more. Or do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Europeans just treat food differently across the board. The way they consume it, the way they, I mean, barring some countries.
Do you guys know what good food is? Or there's this food service where you order like 3
good
meals or
food. Yeah,
whatever.
I got it.
There may be more than one.
There are.
Is it like super communist if there could be a food program? It'd be like government cheese.
Well, don't use government cheese as the example. That's
But
a
that's
terrible
70.
example.
You'd sign up and you get government pork chops, whatever. It'd be decent, but it'd just be like I just feel like we have way more people compared to our resources here. And then it shouldn't even be a discussion about shortages and people going to food banks and stuff. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't make sense.
There are 12 countries in the world that are have no debt.
I'm paying $1.56 a liter of gas at the pumps because they pump the gas here and send it to a whole different place to be processed. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense?
I'm not.
Because we don't do the crude refining of the oil, right? Isn't that the thing?
Well, we want to get rid of the oil because we would let.
So I think the problem is that we don't have a lot of crude oil. We have the oil sands.
That's the crudest of oil.
Yes. Yeah, but the processing of it is the
we
problem.
can take the oil out, but apparently we have to send it away to make it into like the gas you put in your car.
So we can buy it back
So we can buy it back.
and raise the price in the summer.
And then we end up paying the difference.
Listen, I'm on board. Let's just start raping the fucking environment and we'll figure it out.
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with raping the environment, though. That just seems like...
Well, I'm just saying, let's do it. Let's go whole hog.
You have changed.
he's come full circle.
I just
I
want to
turned
say
40
this,
and I'm
this
white.
podcast, I fucking slacked off or whatever, but it's about diet and exercise and everything we've heard before. And it's definitely the one thing to take away from it is there's no whatever works for me will not work for you, or it could. But we can't look at anything as like everyone should do this.
Every time...
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Manners.
Every time Joe opened his mouth in this episode, I swear to God, was to repeat some Joe idiom we've heard a zillion times. Because there's only so much you can say. Like once you get past the Alzheimer's diabetes thing, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
But once
Forever
they
chemicals.
just get into normal health talk, like there's nowhere you're really just beating off a dead horse at this point.
But if you have acquired knowledge along the way, it feels good to regurgitate it in a conversation, I suppose.
It just bothers me that I might not make it to 50 and that and that they'll be like, he listened to Joe Rogan for like literally 20 years talk about health and beat it down his fucking throat.
Yep.
And he never quit smoking. He never got active. You know what I mean? Like that's
Why do you feel that way?
that I won't make it till 50.
Yeah.
Because I can barely breathe as is.
I
and
know,
I
but
smoke a ton.
Do you
and
play
I just
pick up hockey?
do I look like I play fucking pickup hockey?
Do you take off for the weekend, have a threesome with like 3 19-year-olds? You'd have to do something really like
fun?
exert yourself. Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to go from 0 to 100.
What are you talking about?
I don't think you're overly unhealthy.
I would
If
completely disagree.
You're not healthy, but you're not obese.
Did anybody?
Yeah, but I'm skinny fat. We've done this
But
before.
obese is there's
The
a
killer,
difference
I
there.
get it.
Obese,
Did anybody see Bert and Tom interviewing one half of? Is it Bussin' with the Boys? Is that
Taylor Lewin.
Taylor Lewin?
That's one of the Bussin' with the Boys guys. I think that's his name.
Okay.
Taylor Lewin. They're
It's the,
football
it's
players.
the other guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you? You didn't see
I
it?
didn't see it, no.
So he's a stoic.
Okay.
You know what
yeah. He's
stoicism
the guy
is?
that. Yeah. Joe had one of the stoic
are
guys
you
on.
trying to insult us?
No, just him. You know what stoicism is?
Yeah.
Anyways, so he's a stoic and he comes on, he's talking about it, and Bert goes, "You know what I just don't get? This whole stoicism thing." And he's like getting really kind of angry about the whole thing. And he says, "Bring up any stoicism point. I'll break it down." I'm just like, this guy, you want to hate him, but at the same time, I totally get it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I just want to have fun. You know what I mean?
I heard him in a conversation. I don't know. He was interviewing and he said, "I have a exit 56 strategy." And they said, "I can't wait to be taking my shirt off at 60 years old." 4 sentences later. So, I mean, it is such a wild thing. And I just love all those guys. Bert, if you're listening.
He's not. I promise. I can fucking guarantee
It's
you.
watch the clip though. It's really funny.
I will.
Because like Tom looks over at him. He's like, "What don't you get?" There was a really interesting moment between them. And then they phone up like the stoicism guy,
Yeah, the guy that Joe had on. Yeah.
and Bert like is trying to like argue with him. You know, it's just
For me, stoicism in a nutshell is when something happens that like it could be bad, it could be good. Next.
you're gonna take things as they come.
I have to.
Well, you have no choice.
You have no choice. But you do feel when you're around people that make a big deal about something that might not be a big deal, it's like energy sucking.
Yes, agreed.
Drama. Like, let's just wait till we find out. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've done it, but it's just like, calm down. So stoicism is let's see what happens. Chips fall as they may. So yeah, this is a diet exercise episode, which is really not what we've ever liked.
No, we hated it.
I didn't actually do anything.
Let's move on.
Well, you got to rate it first if you don't mind.
Oh, I thought we rated it.
I give it a 5. Is someone listening? No.
I'll give it a 2.
I give it a 2. Kumar, let's move on.
And that's purely for his work.
Now, I found the most interesting,
some interesting
thing
stuff in there.
ever.
You want to give us a name and a number? No, we're not doing that.
Tyler.
We've lost him.
2168 Tyler Fisher, who is like 5'2". Do you know Prince is 5'2"?
I knew Prince was.
Have you
I didn't know he was
seen
5'2".
Prince's guitar solo at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Like, I think it's 2004. It's a George Harrison tribute, and they play "While My Guitar Gently
Gently
Weeps."
Weeps, yeah.
Now, prior to this, Rolling Stone had put out top 100 guitarists in history, and Prince wasn't on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an interview with Questlove where he says Prince came out just to go, "You guys slept on something." And at one point, he's soloing. He turns his back to stage and just falls. And he's got a bodyguard that catches him and holds him while he solos and then pushes him back up while he's staring at Tom Petty going, "Yeah, motherfucker." It's the best thing you've ever seen.
That's awesome.
But Tyler Fisher's also a small guy.
Well, back
And-
to Prince. I read the best story the other day. Apparently, Prince was he did like backups for Rick James before he was big, when he was really young, and he went on tour with Rick James. And apparently they would play basketball like every night. And by the end of the tour, they fucking hated each other. Like wouldn't talk to each other at all. And I guess Prince had like a synth that he had programmed. And I guess no one back then, there's only a few people that probably knew how to program them. Like you had to program it. but Prince had programmed his. So Rick James stole it, and they think that he used the synth on Super Freak like throughout
no
the
way.
album. Yeah, and then he returned it to him with a note saying, "Thanks, motherfucker."
Wow.
Where is Rick James from?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I know the answer.
Oh, tell us.
Buffalo, New York.
Oh man,
Is that wild?
not really. Buffalo's grimy.
I know, but if you got a Buffalo, hey, you got a ounce of shine. I'm gonna make it shine.
yeah.
Let it shine. Let it shine. Like just like Simon. So Tyler Fisher starts on the left. The whole pandemic, everything happens. He is the most interesting because he had an issue where he was told to his face, "You're white, no bueno," and he's following up with it. And I don't want to be a martyr, but I've been told that many times. Too many white guys, whatever.
You're
But
not white.
too many straight guys. Whatever.
You're not
they-
straight.
I think they just didn't want you on the show, motherfucker.
Too many shows.
Too many what? What else you got?
No, the point being is when
Too
you
many
hear,
smart guys.
when you hear these things, you don't feel like you're being discriminated against. Whereas if it's a black woman and I went for it, I was like, we don't need any more black women. She's at the Human Rights Tribunal. You don't even think about, is this, it's too casual to discriminate, but we all assume, well, I guess we had a good run or whatever it is that this is allowed to be, and he's following up on it, so that's cool. Have you guys seen any of his stand-up?
No,
His impressions are on point. He made me think of you immediately.
but mine aren't. On
Well,
point.
because
this
he's
guy's way better.
he's
'Cause
5'2" and he
I
does
hate you.
impressions. I mean, I thought of Matt immediately too.
You're a piece of shit.
On fire.
For the record, I'm as tall as Simon. Back to back, literally
close. You're
as tall.
close. No, I mean not as. You're
As tall.
You're as
I'm
tall
as tall as Simon.
This guy, no joke, is so short. And I
He's
think
very
that's what
short.
Joe brought to him because he lives in Austin and he can be with him and make Joe look like he's 6 feet tall.
I felt like they both had their legs dangling from the.
Like you just made me do. You kneecap
Like
me.
two kids on the McDonald's stools.
Yeah.
It is a wild thing, though, that we've now seen. You can be weird, but if you're funny, you can get girls. It's sort of opposite. Like, if you meet a quirky girl, it's like, well, you guys don't know about.
What do you mean? There are plenty of ugly, funny guys who never get girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about famous people.
Yeah.
No.
If you're funny and famous, you can get girls.
I also are we talking quantity or quality here? Because yeah, you could go out and fuck.
Quirky / interesting.
I'm still on Simon's side here. I think again, if you're talking just quantity, I think a quirky, funny, ugly dude can go out and get some pussy.
The
If he
case in
doesn't,
point was Woody Allen.
he's famous.
So
And
you're
was
saying
he slaying? Like, was he?
he was the Jew that knew what to do.
I don't think that's true.
Like Alex Rodriguez, he has a hit list.
Slay.
He has a hit list that would shock you.
Well, he's no Woody Allen.
This is my point. Again, good-looking, famous dude. Like
But so does David Spade.
rich, famous. You have to take rich and famous out of it. 100% across the
Do you
board.
think David Spade was like getting tons of pussy before he was famous?
Nope.
I don't think he
He's
was.
a very handsome man.
Okay, maybe, fine. I don't know. Like, yeah.
The quirky guy is more interesting than the quirky girl. I'm just trying to get some double standards going here.
Well, I don't think there's a double standard there. Like I've dated quirky girls. I think you've dated quirky girls.
What is
Why are
your
you so
definition of
disappointed?
quirky?
Has the progress for gay gone too far? Am I a homophobic?
Has the progress for gay gone too far?
That was like Jiminy Glick. Am I a homophobic?
Would you like to see Fauci behind bars?
Are these all? Is this all one question?
Sure.
Okay, what law did Fauci break? Because I don't want to throw someone in jail. He lied. We get that he
the
lied.
masks, the distancing, all that there was no ground for it.
Okay,
The
so
closing down businesses, there's no ground for it. There's recordings of him saying, once we do this, they'll bow to our demands. Where there's no evidence that it would make.
so that sounds like there should be a class action lawsuit for anyone who lost their business.
But we also know through JFK, like Magic Johnson survived AIDS. Freddie Mercury didn't. Freddie Mercury had all the money in the world, but he was on the AZT shit. And we know that that was a really bad thing. And a lot of people are saying that it wasn't AIDS that killed him, it was this disease. And Fauci's at the spearhead of that. It's just...
No, it was the cure.
Yes, I understand what
He said
yes,
it
I
was
know,
the
I know.
disease. I was just correct.
My bad. It seems like this is a guy who's got away with bad advice.
Okay, the AZT thing is different, but the masks, I'm asking you, where's the crime there? He lied, I get that. He made up stuff. He should lose his job.
Arrested the development of tons of toddlers and stuff. Like, really, I don't even know what the impact is. Well,
I asked you what the crime was.
Forget the
making shit up.
fuck the masks. How about the fact that he was doing the research on the thing that got away?
Sure. But he has immunity.
I would like, my hope would be that when this is all written about in history, he is written about as a bad guy and not a good guy. And
That's
that would
what-
make sense knowing what we know now. You're not going to get anything else, Matt. There are going to be no lawsuits. There are going to be no nothing.
4 years ago.
I would like him to be fired.
4 years ago. Okay.
He's already fired.
That's
He doesn't
enough. That's
work.
enough. He doesn't have to
He
go to jail.
resigned.
Did he?
That's
Yeah.
enough. He doesn't have to go to jail. But 4 years ago,
He had
was-
to so he wouldn't get impeached or whatever.
4 years ago, he was a knight in shining armor. I'm sure our Ministry of Health or whatever took his notes, and they're doing it. We're doing it, and with everything, we'll probably have no accountability.
With CNN,
But you agree he's a piece of shit.
CNN viewers, and I'm using that as like a group of people, not as people who actually watch CNN.
Yeah.
That group of people
Demographic.
look at him as some sort of like savior. They watched him through the 80s try and tackle the AIDS, which was a huge deal to like our parents coming
Yeah,
up,
I know, yeah.
watching this disease that could kill their children. And like, it was a whole thing, man. You forget about that, what that must have been like for your parents. We know what it was like for us. Wear a condom, blah, blah, blah. This was a disease that they had never seen before, that all of a sudden was coming and was being passed along through unprotected sex, which is exactly what your kids were doing at the time.
Well, not just your kids. You were like, hey, I really like having unprotected sex.
Well, yeah, but you were having sex with your wife is
Sure.
the point.
Yeah.
So you weren't having to worry about getting AIDS unless she was out there like banging the neighborhood.
What about the idea of reparations for people who were outcast for not wanting to get vaccinated?
No, again, I think there should be lawsuits.
Like, if you got fired from a job.
Yeah, I think you should be able to
individual
sue, but reparations, like, I don't even know what.
level, again, I'm not. This is not my idea. They had talked about it.
Listen, I think right
Fire-
now, if you got fired from your job or you had to leave because you didn't want, I think, yeah, you should be able to go and sue for damages. You should be able to say, I lost 3 years.
What about all the small businesses who weren't allowed to stay open? Are they
Yeah,
allowed
they
to
should.
sue
I
too?
believe they should be able to sue too.
Now
But-
but
we're
that
talking
process
about
could
like
sue.
90% of the population who would be suing the government, I guess. Governments who have no money.
Well, it's our. Listen, you hit the nail on the head. The problem is we're paying ourselves.
They'll just figure out a way to tax you more to make up that deficit.
Well, no. Again, when the government pays out, that's our money.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, I know, but it's money that you were giving regardless. You don't get to give less if they don't. You would just be giving that money to another venue.
Well, yep, no, but it just means that it's less money for roads and schools and hospitals and
Right.
and
but
you're paying that money.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? You're paying your own lawsuit.
kind of. Not really.
No, you are.
No, you're not, because you're giving that money anyways.
Yeah, I get it, but
It would be different if that money went back into your pocket, then yes, you are paying. You're paying regardless, wherever that money goes.
Either
if
way.
it's being allocated to a good source or
Bear
a
this in
bad
mind.
source.
Not gonna
Bear,
happen
bear this
anyway.
in mind. I was talking to my friend, and Desjardins, a Quebec bank or credit savings, they got hacked, and this guy got in on a class action suit. I had never been with the bank, and they said, "We have no records of you." Well, I was there, but you guys got
But
hacked.
you got hacked. Brilliant.
And they gave him $250. So there is a whole circuit of this class action reparation, and it would be like you said, if a business got fucked, they deserve it. But it's someone just cashing
Well,
in.
we know.
Where do you draw the line?
Did you never watch that movie? Like, we've talked about it a million times. The Hot Coffee, is that what it's called?
Yep.
That the whole tort law, like that's what this is all about. It's just that's what this is. It's getting people together to sue giant companies. And it's been going on forever. I just think it's different when that person you're trying to sue is the government.
Along the road of us,
I agree. Yeah. I'm just saying though, Simon, someone has to be held accountable.
We hope.
Yeah. My point is this: like, those people in the government have to be held accountable.
Yeah, I agree, but nobody's ever held accountable. Like
I
the
agree with that
Liberals
as well.
will lose this election.
Will they?
What's his name won't get elected again, and we just move forward. Nobody's ever held, right? Because the next guy just has to do his job. Nobody's ever held accountable.
No, normal people are.
Oh yeah, normal people.
If you crash into a fucking,
oh yeah, normal people are held.
Yeah,
accountable.
we
I'm
are
saying
all-
people in the government are never held.
no,
accountable.
I'm with you. I agree. No one's. It's ridiculous. What else you got, Kamar?
As part of sort of like the lie of life that we think we knew what something was, they were talking about how George Bush is from like Connecticut or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd asked me before I listened to
Yeah,
this
I would've
podcast,
said Texas,
he's
100%,
this Texan
yeah.
and a good old boy, and just this presentation thing.
Yeah, but hold on. Like that's unfair. Like if you're born, well, just hear me out. If I'm born in Canada, okay, I'm born in Ottawa, and then at 6 months old, my parents moved to New York, and I spend the next 28 years living in New York. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have the attitude that I'm a New Yorker. I don't care if I'm born in Canada.
Or forget even your parents. What if like you're 20 and you leave your house and you get married and you move to Texas and you live there for 20 years or 40 years?
Sure.
You're a Texan.
Well, no, but
I feel our equivalent is Pierre Poilievre. He's from Calgary. He's
Okay.
not French whatsoever.
Who cares?
What? We don't. But I'm just telling you, in my perception
Yeah,
of
because
how
of
the
his
world
last
is
name.
up until this point, and because he owned the Texas Rangers, he was a good old boy. But it may have been a whole thing to reframe who he was and help his election chances. Maybe he would not have got voted.
For sure it was. It was like, well, we can't have this cheerleader go up there. Nobody's going to take him seriously. Let's make him a cowboy. Sounds good.
I mean, again, like I said, the reason I said born and then move there, Simon, is that because if you spend your entire childhood somewhere, like that's kind of where you're from, whether you're born there or not.
One of Tyler's points was, and I think he does it special as well, is like this, like we're freaking out because Trump's such a piece of shit, or Biden doesn't know. Like, it was the same thing with George W. And people were too young, but Ronald Reagan was president, was falling asleep and stuff. Like it isn't a new thing to have figureheads who aren't, sharp as a whip. What's the?
Yeah, I feel like
No, it was
a little
just
bit
usually
different
that the
back then.
person they were going up against was also a sleeping, bumbling idiot.
Sharp as a whip, tack as a whip.
Sharp as a tack.
You're smart. Do you guys remember? And young people, I don't know if
Well, let's hold on. Since we're on the Biden, we got to talk about the
No, but
fucking
what?
debate.
Sorry, I'm sorry. What is the whip thing? It's sharp as a tack and
Quick as a whip.
quick as a whip.
I don't know where my phone
Well, it
is.
certainly isn't sharp as a whip.
No.
There is a whip though,
There's definitely a whip. Yeah,
some sort of whip.
we'll figure it out.
We could talk. We'll talk about the debate, but I just want to finish this thought.
Okay.
There was these videos. I guess it would be like 2000 or whatever, and Iraq, as part of a defense, had lit all the wells on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that footage is gone, but it's still the most amazing like thing I remember seeing. Just, and it was to affect the visibility of the American troops or whatever. But just
You're talking about Kuwait, right?
it was Kuwait, but I think Iraq was the one who.
This is during Desert Storm.
Desert Storm.
Yeah.
It was a massive undertaking for guys to get in there and cap these things, but just pollution on a scale, and the militaries were doing these burn pits with, John Stewart. So just the idea of people caring about the environment is still relatively new.
Well, Biden's son died because of a burn pit, or at least that's what he claims.
Well, this is just ridiculous then.
So, you want to hear something interesting?
Sure.
So, there's two versions. There's quick as a whip, and there's smart as a whip.
Interesting.
Smart as a whip was the one I was thinking of.
So quick as a whip. I was right. There is one that's quick
Yeah.
as a whip. Okay.
But it has nothing to do with a whip.
Really?
Smart as a whip has something to do with a whip, which when you think about it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's fast.
But not smart as a whip. There is also smart as a whip, but sharp as a whip has to do with the sharpness of the whip clack.
Gotcha.
The quick as a whip is referring to the speed of whiplash.
Interesting.
Yeah, which can travel faster than the speed of sound, giving rise to the crack or snap.
When I was young, I cracked a whip really hard. Hit myself in the chin. Right here.
Was it on a moving train?
Yeah, it was, dude. That's crazy. As if you knew that.
I love you. I love you.
Did you have a little Asian friend?
Yeah, later on in life I did. Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
That is all I live for, is trying to create a, I think you need 4 sentences for someone to like lean in, like, what? Because the easiest, like, I was born in South Philadelphia and I got in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you can pull it off, it is the best.
Yeah.
It's the greatest. And harmless.
But it's nice when someone catches, like, I wanted you to fucking, I was hoping, I was like, one of them will catch what I'm saying.
Well, have you ever, I was thinking about when they used to talk about whips, is towels in the locker room and stuff. Like you get a towel and just get a little end of it wet.
Yeah, you can really hurt someone.
You know, you could really
hurt someone. You could take out someone's eye for
there
sure.
should be more.
What did we call those?
Gay?
No. It was something tail.
Foreplay.
It was a something tail. Cat's tail.
Gator tail, but if you had you could, yeah.
Yeah, you could.
And it's a weird sort of thing, which ties into the dumb brain, like what people may call
brain.
toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity
Is also the part that make us the best. Like guys just doing stupid stuff.
Well, it's what got us here.
Exactly, but young guys, now for me, when I do something crazy, it's really stupid and irresponsible. But there's a certain sweet point where it's like, you fucking go off, queen or king, get that bag.
Well, I think it's when you're younger, your bones heal quicker, right? Like everything is, when you hurt yourself, it's not as big as a deal.
People do crazy shit, and that's exciting about life.
I miss being made of rubber. That
if
was
we
the
were all
fucking best.
risk adverse, we'd probably not be alive.
I think
I
you
was pretty
probably
risk
need
adverse
you
growing
probably
up.
need both. You need some people who are willing to go out there and throw themselves over the edge of the cliff to see what's there, and you need some guys who are willing to stay back and say, "Holy shit! If there's nothing there, we're gonna make sure we're still
And
here."
so my original statement is that is entangled in whatever people call toxic masculinity, to try to social engineer that out would just be negative. Guys got to be wild and do wild shit. And if they get too wild, you put them in jail. But we can't like try to make it so we have guys who don't do that anymore. It's not cool. Guys got to wild out, man.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
Well, I don't know. Like when you see like,
Go on.
people who are like breaking records and shit, that you don't say toxic masculinity.
But you would think that when you see that guy going, oh,
That's 'cause those guys breaking-
I'm the man, when he crosses the finish line, right? That's sort of in that vein.
That's because those guys breaking the records are women.
Or under pressure. Oh, shit. Do you know Brittany Griner?
Yeah.
Dude.
She's a dude.
Yes.
Have you just seen Brittany Griner now for the first time recently?
No, I saw her around the pool with no scars and talking deeper than my voice. And yeah. Our whole existence is a lie. What about this?
Sorry, are you saying she became a dude?
No, it's dude, been dude. Fam.
Dude, been dude, fam.
Man is not hot. Man has no jacket, man. Fam.
Can we talk can we talk about the fucking
No, we have to get this out of the way.
debate? Come on.
We have to get this out of the way. Favorite Woody Allen movie?
I swear to you, I don't know if I've seen one Woody Allen.
Woody and Allen?
I'm going to try that one more time. I don't know if I've seen one Woody Allen movie in my whole life.
For sure you have. I'm trying to think.
Did he do When Harry Met Sally?
No.
I've seen that.
Did he do The Matrix? Because I've seen that.
What about Jurassic Park? Did he do that?
It is strange.
No, but like name a Woody. I can't even. I can't name a Woody Allen movie. Except for that one he did with Scarlett Johansson and what's her name when they have the threesome. But I only watched that scene.
Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
That's it.
Or Midnight in Paris. Or there's Crimes and Misdemeanors. There's Broadway Danny Rose.
I don't know. I've never
To
heard of
Rome
that
with
name.
Love, Match Point.
Have you guys never
Match
seen...
Point. That's that tennis movie?
Yeah, A
He did
Rainy
that?
Day in New
You've never
York.
seen Bananas?
Hollywood Endings.
No.
Bananas.
Did you know that
Small Time Crooks.
Nope.
Mia Farrow never met the daughter?
What do you
It
mean
wasn't
Mia
like
Farrow
they
never met the
adopted.
daughter?
It was they were talking about how they were adopted. Like Woody Allen's Scarlet Letters that he hooked up.
He married his
adopted
daughter, yeah.
But like they just did it for looks, and Mia Farrow really never knew her.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I got something.
No, but what are you even trying to say? I don't understand.
Social justice was born from the Occupy
No. Hold on a second. Woody Allen married his stepdaughter or his adopted daughter.
Yeah.
Mia Farrow and him adopted that girl.
No.
She never met her. Or
Mia
something.
Farrow adopted that girl.
And never met her.
And Mia Farrow also,
was all
what
just,
this guy was saying.
What do you mean never met her?
Stop. What this guy was also saying was that Mia Farrow used to return kids on the regular. Like she would adopt a kid, keep it for a couple months, and be like, "This one's not for me."
Okay, so she did meet the
Sydney
kid.
Lee was one of those, and Woody caught a shine to her. And
Sookie and Lee, the Much Music VJ.
on
I don't. I'm
Repented Love.
Simon.
I'm
he
not
did-
going to get anywhere
Simon,
on this one.
He did Ants.
He did Ants.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw.
I saw Ants.
Yeah, Mighty Aphrodite.
No, I didn't. But he did Ants for real.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He was one of the voices in it.
He is the voice of the main guy.
What about Bullets Over Broadway?
No, I haven't. I
Okay.
haven't seen any of them.
Then you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I too, looking at this list.
Kamar, what are you doing?
I was trying to adjust my glasses.
But you're not
Woody
wearing
Allen.
glasses.
I know.
No, I'm dying to know what he meant by. Do you know what he meant by the? She never met him.
No.
Okay, we'll just move on then.
Okay.
I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Me? No, I just said I don't know what you're talking about.
But you guys both saw Ants.
We both saw Ants.
Yeah, but I don't want to do Ants.
We're doing Ants. It's fine. Here we go.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon, two rags that brings together the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's a movie game where Matt, Simon go head to head to figure out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made in the box office. I love this call because Ants was a good movie starring Woody Allen, boom, Dan Aykroyd, Anne Bancroft, easy on the eyes, Jane Curtin, you ignorant slut, Danny Glover, Gene Hackman, Jennifer Lopez, John Mahoney, Paul Mazursky, Grant Shawne, Sylvester Stallone, Sharon Stone, and Christopher Walken. Last booking. Did you ever see the movie At Close Range? There's Sean Penn, Christopher Walken, and Chris Penn as well.
No.
It's a true story about like gangsters and it's almost like a Ozark, but
Simon, you have a year?
Yeah,
What's your year?
1997.
Oh, you're probably way closer. I said 05.
you fucking better believe Simon's way closer. But it's 1998.
Wow. As soon as you said 90s, I was like, yeah, that makes way more sense. Well, I'm fucked. I said it cost 30 million and it made 120.
I said it cost 72 and it made 225. I just thought that animation movies costed a lot of money for some reason.
Maybe.
I
You're
think
right.
when we look back at this game, you're gonna think you did really well. It cost 105 to make. That's sort of
Wow.
like including marketing, and 171 million at the box office.
I didn't do terribly.
I think you really know what you're doing, Simon.
Thank you, Kamar. I really appreciate
This guy
it.
really needs a ride home from you.
Do you remember when Mary Stuart Masterson was the hottest chick? Some Kind of Wonderful, At Close Range. She was so hot.
Mary Stuart Matheson.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
No, you're talking about the Scarface's sister, right?
No. She's another girl.
What was her name?
Mary Stuart Masterson was the first like cute tomboy.
Oh, from Pretty in Pink.
No, that's Molly Ringwald. Mary Stuart Master was in At Close Range, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Some Kind of Wonderful. That's what I'm thinking. Some Kind of Wonderful.
But she was a tomboy, but hot sort of thing. Probably ruined society as far as we know.
Matt's too young, but it's this girl, Matt.
I remember her.
That's the movie game. Yeah, well, she was hot when I was a kid, and I saw her in this movie the other day. I was like, what the fuck did they cast her for? But I'm a piece of shit and don't deserve you guys to listen.
Okay, let's talk about this debate and take a break.
Did we talk about how all this social justice is, again, the root of corporations wanting to get the attention away from Occupy Wall Street?
Mm-hmm. I've spoken about it many times.
I said many years ago I could beat Joe Biden in a debate, and you guys scoffed at me. This debate that just happened,
Hold on. You can't do that.
Did it.
No. You can't. That's hilarious. That's like me being like, I could beat Stephen Hawking in a debate and then waiting till he dies and being like, now who has the upper hand,
Yes,
Stephen?
it's in the same vein.
Yes.
But you do remember what I'm talking about. I'm not
No, I
making
don't remember you saying that.
Simon does.
I mean, you say a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, you're throwing up shit at the wall.
Anyways, the point for me, I've watched it twice, is when Trump's like, I don't know what he just said, and I don't think he knows what he just said.
Yeah.
It was just like, so this is the inside scoop. He was supposedly at Camp David for a week preparing for that, but the powers that be were putting through the thing so he would come out ragged, not prepared, seeming tired and disheveled, for everyone to go, okay, we needed someone else. Weird thing, the next day he did some speech in Milwaukee or Michigan and seemed on point. But it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. I even feel like Donald Trump was like, this is what are we doing here?
It was tough to watch.
I mean, that would make sense if they were trying to like
Get him out.
say this guy, look, he's way too old to do this, and everybody in the world has seen it now.
Instead of making him shine, set him up to fail.
And push in Michelle Obama. Like, I'm pretty sure I called this a long time ago.
You can't have that guy overseas talking to world leaders.
What I found shocking but not is like 2 weeks ago, the same people would have told you he's as sharp as a tack. He just does have his best day. But we're like, this guy's fucked up. And it's, again, this thing of people holding on a narrative, never weapons of mass destruction, Trump collusion, Biden smart, whatever. It's just people are able to turn on a dime and there's no like, no, you were defending this guy for a year. What do you know anything?
Did you hear that Trump is going to take Vivek as his running mate?
No, I didn't hear that.
I like that.
I do love Trump, though, also lying through his teeth, blatantly. Being
what I came up with?
I didn't fuck a porn star.
Trump is the most honest liar there is. Because every time he says something,
he believes it.
Honestly lies.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't even want to be president. If this guy wasn't running, I'd be fucking porn stars. But this guy's going to throw the whole thing in the toilet. I got to run.
Listen, the whole thing fell apart when they started arguing about golf. That's when I was like, we are fucked.
He can't even hit the ball 50 yards.
We are so fucked.
I'll
have you know, I was a 6 handicap. And then 2 minutes later, I was an 8 handicap.
The best would be
I fought in Vietnam.
had they shot up Joe Biden and he just pulls out a fucking big rod.
Just shows him his cock.
Big boner. Like, well, what are we doing here, Donald?
Then Don pulls out a bigger one.
No. Joe Biden's got the biggest dick in the world.
In the world. Wow.
So people are saying it's either the Democratic machine or his wife who's sort of power hungry. Joe, you answered all their questions, Joe.
There's no way it's his wife. That he is the front for a giant machine.
But you understand about how like people have control over their power of attorney and power of care.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that he is past that. Like able to make those decisions if they have not been signed over. None of my business. I don't care how that works out.
My grandfather had Alzheimer's, dementia, and I'm telling
Before
you.
he had taken care of his...
No, he had everything taken care of.
Exactly.
He knew it was coming. He got everything taken care of. My point, though, is more about like what I saw with Biden and what I saw with my grandfather. And it's like...
Same.
Yeah. I mean, my grandfather, again, was very aware that he was sick, so he just never opened his mouth. Like, once he was full-blown... Like, he never spoke. Because he knew that what was coming out was fucking
Did you have some sort of regret that you realized 3 months or a year earlier was the last time you...
Yeah.
He was all, you know what I mean? And you'll never have maybe play a song and his eyes light up, but yeah. I feel bad for Joe Biden. As much as I've bashed him all these years.
I felt terrible for him. I felt awful
If
for
Joe
him.
Biden really is that far gone, then that means that the American system really, like, to the core is like a banana republic.
Not really, because Donald Trump will win.
No, I'm saying that for the past 4 years, an imaginary force has 1,000% been running this government.
I mean, the problem is in the last 4 years, we've seen him have, and I'm just saying it's small talk, like talks where he seems lucid. Like Kamar, you said.
Maybe it's a body double.
I've never felt that way.
You just said he did a Milwaukee thing a day later where he was.
The next day, and some people in the media were like, look, everyone has an off day. But there was enough people going, like the New York Times, like all these articles, like he's got to go.
Did anybody look at his earlobes? Because sometimes he has earlobes and sometimes he doesn't. And I think that depends on
Which body double
what
it is.
double is in there.
We defeated pharmacare. Like it was ridiculous some of the times. And it seemed like when Trump was saying, this guy's the dumbest piece of shit ever, Joe Biden was looking at the moderators, Jake Tapper, like, are you guys...
I just can't believe they're going to run this Jeff Dunham doll again.
Yeah,
It's insane. Like the Democrats have fucked themselves so hard here.
And again, I felt it's weird that I've reached the age that this makes sense. Because if this had happened 15 years ago, it would have been just like, okay, whatever, two old guys on stage, I wouldn't. But now I'm just like, what? How are we all standing around? And if America has the biggest debt, everyone's in on them, they have the most weapons being run by him or him.
I mean, what difference does it make? We can clearly see that the entire thing is corrupt from top to bottom. We live in a society where giant corporations dictate your lives, where big pharma is making sure that you're going to stay just sick enough to take care of. Like, who cares who's in charge? None of that is ever going to change.
And at the end of the day, you're a rock standing up to an avalanche.
I mean, Simon, there is a world where someone gets elected and immediately enacts sweeping change, where they're like, we're bringing back Glass-Steagall, we're going to break up Amazon, we're going to break
like
up Apple.
What's his name? Like a JFK Jr.?
Someone, I don't know.
I feel like someone like that gets in, makes a couple of changes, and then just ends up engulfed by the system anyways.
You're probably right, but I'm just saying, if you tomorrow went in and there are bills that were put into place that they got rid of.
Yeah,
that protected.
We haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't think we've ever seen it.
But maybe you're right.
No, but in the listen, after the stock market crash in the 20s, they put in all this good legislation where they were like, we can't let this happen again. It's too delicate a system.
Yeah.
We created it, and we can't let normal Americans get sucked up by this thing. And then Bill Clinton was like, fuck these. Fuck this.
And any world leader that tried to go against that, you saw what happened. Or any American leader, rather. Anytime, look back in history, anytime there was a guy with like a good idea who wanted to buck the system, they simply killed him.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
That was par for the course.
I feel like the atmosphere is there that someone on the left could just be so caught up and try to kill Trump. I feel like he's that threat.
I doubt it.
Because no left carries guns, or because...
No, I just don't see it happening.
I could totally see it. I could totally
and it'd
see
be
it.
like a half crazy person, and I wouldn't cry, but it'd just be like, people are so afraid of him, and
that machine that runs the left, let's call it, but really it's the machine that runs whoever's in charge, whatever, whether it's right or left that gets in the military-industrial complex. They've done it many times, and they will do it again. If they become too big a liability, I think that assassination is not off the table.
How can he
my
become?
My example was
hold on.
nothing to do with it. This was a lone wolf, just someone on the left who's like,
my
sister won't be able to get her penis cut off if I don't kill this guy.
He only has 4 years, so the military-industrial complex doesn't give a shit.
JFK only had 4 years. Oh, I guess he could have had 8 years.
Good retort. Do you think Trump is less bad now than he was 4 years ago?
No, he can do less damage now. Who gives a shit now? He already put in 2 Supreme Court justices. They already repealed stuff that the left hates.
Can't he run for 8 years now?
No.
Because it's separate.
No, you can only run 8 years total. Oh, sorry. You can run 10 years
terms.
total, 2 terms. You can take over someone else's presidency, and then you can run for 2 full terms. That's the only way. But they have an 8-year cap. That's it. So 2 terms.
But you don't feel that pre-Trump, you had a feeling about him. Now he's been president. Now we're here. You're like,
None of it
not
matters.
as bad as they say.
No, I just don't think any of it matters.
Nothing's changed.
No, I still think he is an asshole in his core, but that doesn't matter. Everyone that's ever run the country has probably been a fucking asshole.
But have
except
you
for
ever
Jimmy
heard
Carter.
anyone like, this is a danger to the paradigm of life as we know it if this guy, and that is overblown?
Of course.
Okay. That's all I care about. Yeah, the biggest thing is that this guy, again, I love this guy. Watch his stand-up. He's really, really funny. His impressions are point on, and he's been thriving despite discrimination stuff. And it's just another example that the workers in America are not here, but he's a very little guy. And we did talk about this off air last week about you haven't like woken up and you're now a right-wing Nazi. It's just things have changed that you wake up and you're like, this side that I didn't think I had anything to do with seems more sensible. I still want to think that I'm compassionate, healthcare, all these things.
Did you see the?
I'm slightly less compassionate
Then
than I was.
change it.
Did you see the clip that made this Tyler guy like famous, kind of?
No.
Where he goes up and he's pretending to be gay,
No.
and he asks some girl in the crowd, like, "Would you sleep with me if I was straight?" And she's like, "Yeah, you know, you're hot. You have a nice ass." He's like, "Well, guess what? I'm straight." And he's like, "So are you going to sleep with me? We don't want to make a liar out of you."
That's awesome.
That seems just skirting the line of inappropriate.
That's kind of I remember seeing an old, you remember Live at the Improv? It used to be on like A&E. Anyway, I remember this guy did a bit where he came on and he was like so flamingly gay. And he did this bit about how gay hockey can sound. It's like 2 of them going to the corner, and he does this whole bit like deep, like so gay. And then he stops and he's like, he gets rid of the gay voice. He's like, you know what's fucking crazy? He's like, all of you thought I was gay. And then the whole room like erupts, and he's like, look at all the guys. He's like, all the guys were real fucking apprehensive, didn't want to laugh at me. He's like, now that I'm one of you, I don't know. That's the same bit, basically.
I have a friend who always starts his set with like 3 minutes talking like he's Nigerian.
Yeah, I've seen that guy, yeah.
Adam,
And then he's not Nigerian.
and then he pulls out of it. And
Is he white?
No,
No.
that's a good bit.
He's Trent Noir. But the point being,
Hello, how are you?
That is a good
Yeah.
bit. A white guy pretended to be Nigerian.
I want to say to him, like, do you want to keep doing that forever? Do you know what I mean?
Bert's still taking his shirt off. The problem is you can't do that forever because once you get famous, like,
Well, no, but lately, in the last 45 seconds, he gets lazy on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he starts off very hardcore. This man comes to me and says, I have a problem. So I said, this man, what is your problem? But by the end, he starts to get lazy. And then when his transition to, could you believe I actually talk like that? Doesn't hit as hard. I just think it's so hard to, like, pretend you're gay, pretend you're not who you are.
Well, you would know.
Shots fired.
Years and years of pretending.
Anyways, I love this guy, and
I give it a 2.
5'2", short king, get that bag. King. I give it a 3.5.
Get that back. What do you give it, Simon? Let's rate it.
I
Let's
give
fucking end
it
this.
a 2.
All right.
Thought it was pretty mediocre.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we will be right back. We're back. Thank you, I don't know, to the Patreon.
Thank you to...
Hey, and happy fucking 4th of July to our American listeners.
Way to go, guys. Hold it together for a couple more months.
This will come out post-Canada Day, so to our Canadian listeners, we hope you had a wonderful Canada Day.
21.
Canada Day.
Nobody in
69.
Canada is having a wonderful...
Protect our parks 12, and I think they should end it here.
You think this should be the last Protect
Going
Our
on top.
Parks?
No fucking hoopla. This is our last thing. Just, I have a fear because I don't know if you saw David Lucas's special came out.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was not good.
Uncancelable. Well, no, I just read you some comments, but sort of shared in it. And
You're such a fucking weirdo.
There's so many people on the outside of the Rogan sphere that don't share this sort of abundance and stuff. And if, God forbid something happened to Joe, will the mothership always just thrive? Or could it go into a horrible thing like 20 years from now? Joe sells the rights to someone and just...
No, I think the mothership will always thrive. There needs to be a comedy mecca in the U.S., and it is it. And so it will probably remain.
I mean, by the way he was talking, they're planning on growing this thing exponentially.
I think that's a mistake.
So do I.
But I think that's
what he was talking about outside.
But also the Hans Kim, the William Montgomery, the David Lucases, it's great, and I'm not against them, but they have to sort of leave the roost.
Well, and they have to be able to put out comedy specials that are hilarious.
And when he's saying he had Hans Kim, 6 months in opening at an arena, and
that's a mistake.
It's just this expectation sort of set up. You may never do that again. I mean, hopefully he does, but
no. You see, here's the thing. I love the idea of what Joe does and what Tony does, finding these guys before anybody knows about them and turning them into stars. That's incredible. But you have to find guys who actually are able to do that. If you don't, it's like you're wasting that on somebody who could have done it. You know
Again,
what I mean?
I mean, in a way, though, the special model is that's kind of archaic. I mean, we hold it as a benchmark because we're old. But young people comedy moving forward, specials might be a thing of the past. Or it might just be a thing that people choose to do.
Well, I don't think having specials. I just mean putting on shows where you're killing. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, Kill Tony does pretty well.
but we know
No, I mean Hans Kim. He opens for Joe Rogan, and then if he goes out and his comedy's not funny, it doesn't matter how many times Joe puts him up on a show. You have to be funny.
Yeah, but have you seen Hans open for Joe?
No.
Well, let's assume he's funny then, right? If Joe keeps putting him on.
No, I'm saying Kamar was saying, what's his name's comedy
Lucas
special
special was
wasn't
bad,
funny.
yeah.
As long as you're getting behind the right guys.
But Joe also made a point of being David should do a show with Tony because that's where the real secret sauce
Yep.
is. And that was kind of the joke I made earlier was that might just be the thing he's the best at.
Right, but he doesn't want to have that define him.
I understand.
But it might define him.
I mean, Jeff Ross has made a career off of being the roast master. Tony seems to do pretty well with that sort of, he's not necessarily the roast master. Tony has it all, but Tony doesn't have a special, does he?
Yeah, Tony has a bunch of specials.
Okay, but nothing that stands out that's you wouldn't hold any of those in the top 10 specials ever, right?
he was very new. I think he was 8 years in when he did his first special. I look at it more like we look at Brendan Schaub, and as far as we know, maybe he's done a guest spot at the mothership. But there's a power that be that says, despite what you've done, you can't. Because David Lucas used to open for Brendan Schaub.
Yep.
So there's a weird, and then we have the people before all these guys, mostly girls, the Alan Makovsky, the
Some people don't have the humility to get better.
But is it harder? Oh, no. So it's either you touch the golden ring, you do a stadium, and you're like, I have to do whatever, beg, borrow, steal
To get back
to
here.
get back to there, or this is going to come to me and rest on my laurels. I mean, it remains to be seen, but it just seems like there's so many other people. It's still a small verse, the Rogan verse.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a weird, I don't know. You expect him to take on every up-and-coming comedian in the country. They have to get there. It's not on Joe to go out and have the next comedy fucking talent show.
Well, and I think the verse is bigger than you think it is because every single person who goes up at the mothership, that's through Joe.
Well, yes and no. Think about it. Let's use Ben Bankus.
I think it's Adam Ray.
Well, let's use Ben Bankus as an example. We've never heard him mentioned in the Joe sphere at all. He's played at the mothership. And I think there's a lot more up-and-comers
guys that go up there.
playing at the mothership than you think.
For
We just
me-
hear about the Joe sphere because we listen to Joe.
The guy I opened for this weekend is from Ottawa, but has lived in LA for the last 10 years. And he's definitely a left-wing comedian.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, did the comedy store change when Joe left? And he said, absolutely for the better. Because he said it was a little more cliquey. Those guys are sort of more aggro, and there was people in the sphere that aren't in that just felt alienated. When he left, he felt it opened up. But he also said that the Comedy Store will say right up front, you got to have something like followers, fame, something. You're not going to get on the regular list just because you have a good set.
Yeah, well,
It's just you out of a situation. That would have been the case whatever year before social media happened.
So at least the mothership has more
clout.
meritocracy. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Where anybody can go up and become famous.
Well, I would say that's Kill Tony, is that. And it just seems like anything that blows up like this stuff is going, it's almost out of critical mass and can't go forever. Like, did you guys enjoy when they're talking about the corporates and just all that? It's all inside baseball.
I didn't care so much about the
Because I wonder when they talk about that, because at the end of the day, they're all talking about killing it.
I just thought it was crazy when Joe was talking about buying a theater and opening up another Austin comedy club and like.
Kamar, I like when they talk about the corporates because it shows you that like most of them outside of Joe still have to do shit gigs that they hate for money. And it actually brings them back down to earth. In my opinion, like the beauty of Stanhope was hearing him be like, I still play Poughkeepsie on a Tuesday because my booking agent, like that made Stanhope still like a man of the people. You were like, you know, he didn't reek of like a mansion and pure, like he was still out grinding on the road.
He did call in, and that was a great segment. And I've always wondered, because we were diehard Stanhope guys
I love Stanhope.
before there was anyone else. Remember the first one? It was a black and white.
Yeah, that was that
in dingy
dude,
bar.
When he did the bit about the Siamese twins, the head on top of the head, giving him head in the stall of the bathroom. That's to this day like one of the wildest bits I've ever heard.
I think Mitch Hedberg might have still just been alive or just died. But do you remember that? The first time we heard Stanhope?
No.
Stanhope?
We were doing triple bogey stuff, but it was just like a cut above the rest, in the same vein as Bill Hicks. And
Yeah, he was chain smoking
sort of
cigarettes
thing,
and
right?
drinking a beer.
And you would think that guy now, I guess in the same way that you think Attell would live on a pile of gold.
I assume Stanhope has some money.
Oh, no, I don't think he
Not
goes
Rogan
without,
money.
but just there is something, because I've been watching in the terms of other spheres. The Legion Skanks, it seems like Smith and Lewis have caught up to Big J.
In the comedy world? Or in the money?
Just in everything.
No, they definitely haven't caught up to Big J in with comedy chops. Like no comedian would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I don't think Louis J. Gomez. No disrespect to him, but I don't think he's as good a comedian.
Or
as,
Dave, not even close.
But I think they were, say, 5 years ago, coattails and talented, whatever. But they've created their own thing. Yeah, maybe the comedy.
Yeah.
The thing about Big J is, and we always wonder about it, do you like crowd work?
Yeah,
You do like crowd work.
yeah.
If you go there and realize, oh, this guy's just doing crowd work, are you like looking forward to it? Like a little
I
bit.
mean, I would like both to happen during the show.
Because I find Big J just does crowd work. And there's nothing wrong with that. He kills it.
I saw Big J talking on a podcast, and it actually comes back to something they talked about on this podcast, which was Bert and his tour.
Yeah.
And how when you go on that tour, they'll like wake you up at 9 a.m. and say, okay, we're going surfing today. And then they film everything. So it's all content for Bert's thing. That's part of the job.
Yeah.
And Shane was like, well, I just say no. But most comedians can't say no. You know what I mean? And Big J was talking about how he was on that tour and he like did all the things. But then on the last day, he was like, I've had enough. And they came in and like, are you going surfing? He's like, no, I'm not going surfing. And then Bert came up to him and like, come on, just come surfing for an hour. You know what I mean? And he's like, I went surfing for an hour.
I mean,
Can't say no.
well, I just thought, I don't know.
Just
like,
the whole thing is gross. This idea of going on the tour. Joe said it himself. Come on. Like, I can't believe he said it because it was like a real dig at Bert. But that's fucking gross. If people want to do that, fine. But this idea that you're making people who want to be on, like, part of being on the tour is that you have to come and make content for me. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, but you're getting all sorts of like if you're an listen, I get it for Big J, it's probably not worth it. But like if you were an up and coming comedian and Bert was like, "You want to come on this tour? You got to do some extra content," dude. I'd be so fucking down. Kamara would be
Nobody
so
on
down.
that. Almost nobody on that tour is an up and coming comedian. Almost everybody are Bert's peers.
I'd argue that they're all up and coming comedians. We are really
No.
because we're losers, close to the sphere. We know everyone's name, but household name.
Look
They
at
are not.
look at the list of people who play on that tour. You'll see there'll be a couple of guys like, who is the Mexican guy who came on? Ralph, whatever.
Barbosa.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of famous but not really famous. But most of them are like Big J's, Tony Hinchcliffe's, Mark Norman's. They're huge name. What's his name? The bigger fat guy who was on Tires.
Shane Gillis.
No. Did you see Tires?
Yeah, I did. I just don't remember the big fat guy. Oh, Stavros. Yeah,
Stavros.
sorry. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Stavros was on every Two Bears, One Cave now becomes like a psychiatrist appointment for Bert. No, I swear to God. And on this one,
like an intervention.
Bert was talking about how he made the tour because he wanted to make sure that he'd be invited to the fun thing. And Stavros is like, that's fucking crazy, man. The idea that you would want to do that is crazy. And those people who would only come to you don't want them as friends anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was talking such sense, but like,
There's some sort of attitude of strike while the iron's hot.
oh, I get it. I get it, because you will not be popular forever. At some point, people will have had enough of you.
Well, I look at Madonna, and I got in a fight with someone the other night, and I still feel like Madonna is bigger than Taylor Swift is.
No,
Today,
you're fucking nuts.
No. When
Madonna has never been bigger than Taylor
Madonna's
Swift.
reign. Well,
No.
I disagree.
I 1000% disagree.
I'm with Simon.
You want to know what, Kamar? Madonna was big for the world when we were young.
Yes.
The world is so much bigger now. Your
Because of the internet.
ability to get out there is so much bigger now. Taylor Swift dwarfs Madonna's fame.
The end will be seen because Madonna's now like slutting up out there on her 67th birthday, where Taylor Swift is at 67.
I don't think that matters.
I do.
Today, Taylor Swift is bigger than Madonna ever was.
What about Michael Jackson?
Well,
Is that a better
weird one.
comparison? Well, no, we're just talking about like how popular they were at their peak. Do you think Michael Jackson
But you guys,
might
could you guys please
compare?
submit that
I think-
Madonna was
I think-
massive?
Yeah,
Thank you,
he's
Matt.
not denying
I think
that.
Michael Jackson compares more to Taylor Swift's fame than Madonna.
That's all I was saying.
All her first albums are Max Martin, by the way, which is Katy Perry. Like Madonna was an individual artist from the get-go.
Yeah, I know.
Super popular.
Yeah, she was very
and
big.
If
She was
if the
groundbreaking.
world had social media
Movie
back
star.
then,
Yeah.
she might have been bigger than Taylor Swift, but that's
there you go.
not the case.
Easy.
I mean, Simon, it would be interesting to see the numbers adjusted for inflation.
Yes, it would be. Do you remember when
But do you understand what I'm
she
saying?
made
Like,
a black Jesus in her Pepsi commercial?
I do.
like Madonna was doing massive tours,
Taylor
as
Swift
probably
is
as
doing
big as.
nothing to fucking like disrupt.
Well, that doesn't matter.
I,
No, and I'm telling you
We
why it doesn't
disagree.
matter.
Oh,
no,
she's
here.
no JoJo
Stop.
Siwa, but
Stop.
is
Here-
that what you mean?
You're actually contradicting yourself here. Stop. Hey.
you gonna bark all day? With
This fucking guy. You're contradicting yourself. Taylor Swift is far more marketable. See, you are the king of like, you should be a clean comedian because then you're more marketable to the masses and you're easily sellable. Taylor Swift is sellable on every market possible because
No, but
she's so
she
crystal.
incubated in country music for
Who
like
gives
2
a
or 3
shit?
years.
Taylor's cat is more popular than Madonna was.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Made $100 million
Guys
last
at
year.
home listening in, you know I'm retarded. Anyone remember how cool Madonna was?
She was really cool. She was huge for her time, but that time was so much smaller than today.
Like I'm sure you guys can say Lady Gaga blew up bigger than Madonna did, and now Taylor Swift is bigger than
No, I would have said Lady Gaga and Madonna would have been like kind of on par.
I mean, listen, come
But
on.
I think Taylor Swift is so much bigger than Lady Gaga ever was.
It's different eras. Like, you don't have a Taylor Swift without a Madonna.
Spearheaded the LGBTQ community way back then.
There is no
Why? Because she was a slut?
Taylor Swift hits from 7 years old all the way to like old people.
Kamar, I'll give you an example. And I
Playing
know
it safe the whole way.
Sure.
I can give you an example.
Madonna's a risk taker.
It's
It's
a-
a maverick.
This is a weird, like,
Name of her label, by the way.
this is a weird anecdotal one, but like when I play Taylor Swift for the music rounds at trivia, the room goes fucking bananas. That never happened with Madonna. You didn't have the visceral, like, girls go fucking bananas when Taylor Swift comes on.
I mean, girls went pretty crazy when Madonna, like
Not
a
the same.
Virgin came on or whatever.
No, but in the 80s, everyone was high on coke. So, like, music in general was just more.
Oh, no,
like-
I'm saying now, but I don't know about in the 80s.
I want to know if it could be done, the per capita shit breakdown.
What do you mean?
Because
No,
I
you
bet
want,
you, I
He
bet
wants
you,
the inflation.
Yeah,
Madonna has sold more albums than Taylor Swift. Now we're in a streaming era, so that, like whatever you that breakdown, but
But Taylor Swift is in her 20s, so you can't even.
no, she's 34.
Okay, whatever.
She's had her run. She's
Hold
at
on.
her peak right now.
Okay, fine, but to do the album sales thing, like, wait until she's 70.
67. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, well, I think Taylor Swift will crush Madonna in all numbers.
Well, if she even lasts that
Okay,
long,
okay.
like the one thing you can say for
I didn't
Madonna.
think we were going to throw down, but you like Taylor
Hey,
Swift
are
more
you
than
gonna
Madonna?
bark, little dog? No, Madonna's way better than Taylor
Okay,
Swift.
way
better.
That's where I got
Way
confused. But just
But you asked me.
on all metrics, Taylor Swift is bigger. I
Yeah.
can sleep at night.
I like Taylor Swift better than Madonna.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's weird. Can
And
you
I,
name two
and I
Taylor
don't even
Swift
like.
songs?
Yeah, name a song.
I'm going purely off who I think is hotter. Because I don't like either of their music.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Whoa. Back this up.
No, you got to
Prime. Hold on.
Exactly.
Prime
Thank you,
Madonna. Prime Madonna versus Taylor Swift. You're having sex with Taylor Swift.
I'd have to look at Prime Madonna. I don't remember Madonna
Dude,
being
Taylor
that
Swift
hot.
fucks doggy style with this back.
You got to rub her feet while she tells you about John Mayer being an asshole. No thanks. One of the good things about AI movies and stuff is child stars. 'Cause that's a weird thing that we're like, we need to ruin a child's life so this show is more realistic. Ed Sheeran was on Theo Vaughn's podcast last week. It was in London.
Can I ask you a question? But I hate to cut you off. How many people do you think the percentage of child actors that got fucked up is higher than the percentage of child actors that just went on to be normal people?
Yes.
Yeah, I 100% think Taylor Swift is hotter than Madonna was.
Okay. Even by the way of that thing of experiencing.
I don't think we said hotter. You said fuck.
Yeah, either way.
There's no shot.
No, he's allowed.
Madonna was like very like kind of
Madonna's bigger than
Manly.
Taylor Swift.
Perfectly slutty. Like, yeah, I don't want to.
Stick your dick in a material girl. Material girl. Child stars. So Ed Sheeran was on Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Yeah, I saw
And
it.
he discussed the idea that when you blow up, there's an idea that you stop aging. Because aging and maturity and learning lessons comes as trials and tribulations, but if everything comes to you, sort of freeze in that moment, which makes sense because Celine Dion is like a retarded 16-year-old. She's amazing talented, but do you know that's when she blew up? You know what I'm saying? She goes, shoes don't wear me, I wear shoes. If they don't fit, I'll fit in them.
In Celine Dion's defense, like
I'm outta here.
she's
You
still
defend her.
hold on. She's still somehow so French Canadian. Like she lived in Vegas like for so
Thurso,
long,
dude.
Dude, it's insane to be like, there's no way you're still this French Canadian after living in the States for as long as you have.
she's
Like,
really sick, eh?
is
No,
she
she's got stiff person syndrome and she's worth $1 billion. I'm all right.
stiff person syndrome?
She's
What is
only
that?
56. That's what it's called. But she will.
It's not what it's called.
Who's only 56?
Oh
Celine
my
Dion?
God.
Yeah, Celine
Simon,
Dion is only
Google
56.
Get the fuck out
Yes,
of here.
yes.
Yeah, we just looked it up the other day.
Wow.
It's crazy.
She's your age.
No.
Yeah.
But
No, she'd be more his age.
She
Oh,
got
yeah, his age, yeah.
plucked by her manager who was like
I
35
know.
years old when she was 14.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Who ended up being her husband.
I don't know if you have this for the post show, which we're probably not going to do, so I'll talk about it now. Did you hear about Dr. Disrespect this week?
Yeah. He's done, eh?
Oh, he is done.
It's so interesting how we read like may have been inappropriate messages at the time when people cut ties. Like it's It's a new cancellation thing.
No. Hold on. This isn't the crowd going after someone who may be innocent.
No, but he made the statement which made it worse.
What was he accused of exactly?
Talking to a minor.
So this is what happened. I'll give you the quick timeline.
Sorry, my bad.
He signs like a $20 million deal with Twitch. Biggest deal anyone's ever signed with Twitch. Like 2 months later, they throw him off the platform, ban him indefinitely.
And don't give a reason, right?
No one says anything. Doc says nothing. They say nothing. They end up settling out of court, and I guess they pay him for the money. Probably because, if I had to assume, they had these messages before they signed the deal.
Okay.
That's my assumption. Anyway, so for 2 years, we hear nothing about it. And then the other day, out of the blue...
But does he disappear, or is he just different?
No. He spends months not streaming while they're arguing out the contractual agreement.
Okay.
Then eventually he shows up on YouTube. Okay. I'm back. It's a huge thing. He streams for 2 years, no problem. And then out of the blue, last weekend, an ex-Twitch employee tweets out, just so everyone knows, Doc was thrown off for messaging a minor. And everyone's like, whoa, what? And then someone else, another ex-Twitch employee was like, yeah, he was using the Twitch Messenger thing that's no longer there. And we have logs of it. Yeah, and we have it's confirmed that he was trying to meet up with this person at TwitchCon.
No way.
And so then Doc releases this fucking weird statement, which he edited 3 times, where he was like, I was not a big deal. Like, I was messaging a minor individual, and he kept changing the wording of it. And then people were like, dude, the way you're saying this is making it so, probably just shut the fuck up right now.
Preaching to the choir, man.
He was saying, he was like, we dealt with this. There was no illegality. I didn't break the law. And people are like, yeah, I don't think we care about the law.
Yeah.
You're a 35-year-old man messaging. And then the weird thing was, there was people defending him. Like, I heard the girl was 17. That's legal in some states. Dude, I'm his age. I think Doc and I are a year apart, one way or the other. It would be weird as fuck if I was messaging anyone under the age of 20.
Yeah, I had to break that off after that.
And Simon, here's the craziest thing. They will study this for years. He was streaming this weekend, and he's disheveled. You can tell he's bummed, and he's talking to the stream. He's like, I'm probably gonna have to take some time off. And you can see him look down at his phone, and he gets the message that the video game company that he started and dumped $100 million into 2 years ago, that they've cut ties with him. And you can see his eyes glancing down as he's reading the email. And you can see his face my world just ended.
Really?
Dude, he got dropped by everyone. I mean, YouTube even, this is crazy. YouTube came out and they were like, we've demonetized him. Which is kind of nuts, because it's he didn't do anything on your platform. He's
going to be fine, though.
He hasn't broken any, he's so rich.
He'll not socially, he'll be
but he is
pariah
done.
someplace. But there's OJ rolls around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't feel bad for any of these guys, and I wonder how much they earn. I guess if you're streaming 8 hours a day, that is working and stuff.
It's so much.
He made tons of money.
When you find out how much money,
no, but the work compared to a guy who's filling in ditches all day,
Kai Cenat,
I was just gonna say Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat did a 100-hour Elden Ring stream, and they say he made $480,000 just from the stream, not including any brand deals, none of that stuff.
Just the stream, meaning people who watch.
Just people donating, ad revenue from the stream.
That's the one that kills me. And he's reading them so, thank you so much, and he says,
chat.
So you're paying $20 to maybe have your name screamed out at 10 times the speed. It's so crazy.
Do you guys ever watch gay porn to make sure it's gay?
Yeah, I was double
I'm
checked.
double and triple checked.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what Joe said. I think it just came out that way.
There was a big streamer who someone asked him one day, they were like, why don't you have the notifications on Twitch when you get a new subscriber or or someone donating? And I'll never forget, he looked at the screen and he was like, I'll turn it on for a minute if you'd like. But he's like, it's fucking heinous. And dude, he turned it on. The rate of money this guy was making was fucking...
And it's just people donating $5 to say the N-word?
Not necessarily that, but
whatever.
People, dude, just people, $1, $2, $2, $5, $10, 20.
So
people
crazy.
subscribing.
We should be live streaming.
Why? No one, dude. There was a YouTube comment the other day that was like, none of your videos have gotten over 1,000 views. You guys have been doing this for 5 years. Why are you still doing this?
Like, did you see that guy jump to our defense? He was like, "You must be fun to be around." Whoever that is, I think you're fun to be around. So you guys do watch gay porn to make sure it's gay.
Yeah, you got to double check. Yeah.
Bamboozled. Oh God, I love.
I
you
watch
guys.
gay porn to make sure I'm gay.
Dumbest thing you did as a kid, and if you can't talk about, they're just talking about like you do. I remember
Jumped
we would
off the play structure, hit my head, went into a coma.
I thought you slipped.
No, I told you I jumped.
I mean, like I remember we used to like take sewer grates and just drop them in the sewer.
Oh yeah.
And the one time we stole a
Stealing car emblems.
no, it was a one of those things that a roller, like a big cat machine, and they drove it into a pond.
I don't, you were there for that?
Yeah, I like I said, I was just
That's my story.
You weren't there.
Who
for
drove the steamroller?
That. Oh, we're gonna drop names.
Steve Winberg.
Whoa, yeah,
D.O.
okay,
Wow.
he's
Okay,
dropping
whoa,
fucking
whoa.
statute of limitations. It's okay.
We're out of here. Anyways, these things you do, this is what they're talking about. That you just like this, just because you can, you do crazy stupid
Drunk
stuff.
because you're drunk. That's why you do those things. That 100%.
I remember sober, Simon. We used to skate at Echo, right at Bank and Echo, because it was like a dead end, right where
Yeah,
the
I know where
library
it
is,
is,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, we waxed up a curb there. Anyway, I remember one night or one day, right after school, we're skating there. Someone lit a small fire in the bush, and it started like growing, and we all took off. I didn't light the fire. Someone else, dude. We came back like 20 minutes later, and half of that like waterside forest was on fire. I mean, come on, tons of dumb shit, but the glebe was stupid. There's a bunch of rich kids running around doing dumb shit.
I just thought you might have a story you wanted to share. It's all right.
Do you have a story you want to share that's actually yours?
I had to share you a story. And I had that cocktail loaded for 4 days now.
I told you we used to steal car emblems. That's the dumbest because they're not worth anything.
Pop off, yeah.
This was hilarious. So in like grade 10 or whatever, we did one of those car scavenger hunts.
Okay.
You know those things?
No.
Everybody meets up. There's like teams of however many, and everybody's in their own car. And then they give you a list, and you drive around finding the things on the scavenger hunt, but you're in a car. So you're going like, just as an example, some of the things on this scavenger hunt were a bale of hay. So you had to like somehow find a bale of hay. So we drove out to a farm and convinced the farmer to give us a bale of hay.
Okay.
One of the items was a high chair from McDonald's back when they used to have those high chairs, remember?
Yeah.
So you had to like, we distracted the kids at the cash and we stole the high chair. Just things like that. One of them was the biggest pumpkin you can find, and it wasn't Halloween. Okay, so the biggest pumpkin you could find. And they may or may not have been growing the world's largest pumpkin at the library. Right in front of the library, they were growing this giant pumpkin. Anyways, we got the biggest pumpkin. We won that part of the event. And then in the newspaper, giant pumpkin stolen. You know what I mean? It was like a whole thing. We didn't know that. We just thought, oh, whatever, the library is growing a pumpkin. We didn't realize it was like somebody was growing a pumpkin for like this fucking world record competition.
That's
you know what I
insane.
mean?
Dude, I remember
Edit all that out. I don't know what the...
I remember two funny stories.
Back to the steamroller.
I remember one night a buddy of mine was like,
Sorry, that wasn't good enough for you, the giant pumpkin?
No,
Fuck
talking
you,
to the
man.
microphone, you
that was the
dipshit.
head on the nail. Thank you.
One night I meet up with my buddy. I'm like, we're smoking a joint. I'm like, what'd you do last night? He's like, actually, I robbed a second cup. And I was like, sorry, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, my girlfriend like worked there and she got fired, but she still had the key. So like after hours, I went in and I opened it up and like I went in and took the safe and cracked the safe open.
What?
And I was like, hold on, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, I got like $700. He's like, the craziest though is he's like, as I was leaving, I got stopped by a security guard. And he's like, and I told him this crazy story about how like I was working and I left my fucking bag and I had to get my bag.
How did he explain the safe?
No, he didn't have that. He cracked the safe open like in there, I guess. Like he just like broke it open with like a
Is this
sledgehammer
guy
or
a
something.
cat burglar?
It was one of those. No. It was like one of those shitty little ones
yeah,
you
I
buy
gotcha.
like Staples. You can crack those open, no problem. Kamar,
What
will
are you
stop it?
fucking
No one
doing?
sees what you're
What are
doing.
you
No one
doing?
is like, this guy's hilarious.
What is happening here?
Looking engaged, and that story was better than your story.
Yeah, but it's not his crazy story. It's his friend's crazy story. Did you get a giant pumpkin?
I told you my crazy story. It involves my dad. I've told that story on the
I
fucking-
remember I was working at a restaurant in Australia, and the dish pit area was actually outside. Like
Gross.
it was just not covered,
Yeah, gross.
and they put all the cash tills or whatever in this room
Okay.
with the locked door. And I figured if you got in there at night, you could just sort of take a stick and pull the tills towards you and then take all the money. But you had to like walk through two other people's property on a wall. And I broke in there because it was desperate times, desperate measures. And
Different times, desperate
I got the
measures.
tills, I got everything, and they didn't know I was coming, but they had left no money. But it was what
They didn't know I was coming, but they knew somebody was coming.
the risk you take, and you're like, oh, you know, have you ever done sketchy shit? You're like,
I love that Kamar could have done real time in Australia
Yeah,
for
yeah,
like
this
no
is-
money.
no. Hopefully I be like deported. But yeah, totally. For nothing. For
Instead of
nothing.
executed.
Kane.
2 more things about the scavenger hunt, just to give you an idea of how fun it was.
Okay.
The very first thing on the list, so everybody meets in a parking lot to get their lists, okay? And the very first thing on the list was a shoe from an opposing team. So right away there was a giant like rumble in the middle of the parking lot as you
get a
fought
shoe,
other
yeah.
teams to try and get their shoes. That was really fun. And then another item on the list was this was hilarious. The item on the list was, I don't remember the kid's name, but like Stephen Kanicki,
Yeah.
and you had to get him. So we like
person was
showed
an
up at
item.
his house, rang the door, asked his mom if we could see him, and then kidnapped him.
We're here for Kanicki.
It was amazing.
I
Great times.
I
Man.
remember
We should
hearing
do
about
that
this.
someday.
I had no friends,
A giant scavenger hunt at
but those
50.
always sounded
That would
great.
be fun.
And the prize was like a gift certificate or something.
I think everybody put in like $100 for their team, and
yeah,
then
yeah. Winner take all.
It
I
was
like
like
that.
first, second, and third.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
It was fun.
Is it possible they got shut down because people put crazy shit on the list and like street signs were
Well, the
disappearing or
next
something?
year we did it again, but it wasn't as good because you had used all the good things the first year, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you could possibly end up doing some bad things like stealing stop signs or, you know,
That
and there
did
are giant
happen, yeah.
accidents. I don't know.
Have you ever stolen a street sign?
I don't think I have.
I've stolen like something like, you know, those things that they're black and orange and they light up
the
at night.
cones.
Not the cones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's got a light on it.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are those things
Completely
called?
useless. Whatever. Buoy. Street buoy.
Street buoy. Yeah.
One of the things that sort of irked me, and I guess I'm just dumb, was they got into a whole thing about tickets.
Go on.
Well, no matter what, they're all selling tickets. Like, if we do this, the scalpers don't get it here. We make sure, well, at least if it sort of felt like in the vein of, were you talking about the guy got the money and then they're like, the money you took to let those guys in is actually our money.
Yeah.
But we were talking about that sort of the side gig, like lets the gray market
Yeah.
thrive. And I felt like they were sort of saying the same thing. And it's, again, this attitude of like, every dime's got to be accounted for.
Listen, Supreme doesn't give a shit that their shirts are being resold for $300. That's part of the.
They hope that
That's what
continues.
makes it popular
That's what
enough
I'm
so
saying,
that
yeah.
they can sell the shirts in the first place.
Yeah, Joe Rogan wants his tickets being resold on the low. Like he might not say it, but he wants his tickets being resold for 3x the.
I looked at it just it's just so weird because as a kid that was a thing, scalpers, and it was like in your head you're like, so that I guess that guy took $5,000 and bought all these tickets and now is just waiting there, and I guess if you want to go, then it's worth what you're going to pay for it. But
Ticket
can't you just see that guy and the cops say you're under arrest? You can't do this.
Ticket Hub is just another like
Organized
Uber
scalper.
or Airbnb, you know what I mean? Where we thought it was something that was going to make our lives buying tickets was going to be so easy. And then they just figured out another way to fucking extort money from you.
I don't know. I don't know if those ticket companies are the worst.
Oh,
No,
they're
not
really bad.
Ticketmaster is the worst, but I'm talking about like SeatGeek or one of those. They're not, I don't think those are the worst.
Those are the ones who are buying.
It's like you have a ticket to sell, so you go on and you put it up on the marketplace. Kamar, the thing about scalping tickets is it's only illegal if you're doing it for profit. So it's tough to prove. Like when you're like, why don't the cops just go arrest this guy?
Meaning that, like, if I have an extra ticket,
Precisely, and
I'm
you're
just
selling it
trying to
for
get my
face
money
value,
back.
there's nothing illegal with that at all. Or if you're selling it at a discount.
I mean,
Yeah, but if
at
you're
the end of the
buy-
day, it is honestly capitalism at its finest.
If you're buying, like, let's just say you buy 100 tickets
Yeah.
and you're standing outside selling 100 tickets for face value, that's not illegal.
Nope.
That's weird.
I mean, you're losing money at that point because you're like face value, like they've charged you a surcharge when you bought the tickets,
Well,
right?
I mean, you would include all that.
I guess,
in the
yeah, sure.
Value.
It must have been better days before computers, before these tickets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you could
you'd
photocopy
you'd
a ticket and-
or you'd have to go to Ticketmaster's desk and buy the ticket, wait in line. Like you just couldn't have a bot. Or
But I
whatever.
mean, you could go scalp a ticket today, right?
Yeah.
To something.
Yeah.
Like that still exists.
Yeah. When I worked in Vancouver, Simon, because I worked a block away from where the Lions played, where the Canucks played, all that shit. And the scalpers came and drank at my bar before and after games. And like, yeah, they had there was a full like crew of the same dudes. They always had a stack of tickets. And like, it was a game that,
Yeah.
And it must be a gray area because, again, if you spotted them, a detective or someone, if they cared about that being a problem, could shut them down.
like I said, I don't think these companies care because tickets are being bought.
I don't get how Joe can't see like the forest through the trees on this one. That
Is it the forest for the trees?
is it for the tree? No, through the trees. The forest through the trees. You're looking through the trees to see the forest, to see what's in the forest. Anyways, when anything that starts as niche or organic,
You're caught in the mothership.
yeah, even the mothership, which is still a huge venture, but it's still like the birth child of Joe, who's I'll lose my train of thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who can't. Anyways, it started as this little thing, and fine, he grew a giant podcast, and fine, he opened the comedy store. But as soon as you start opening multiple locations and giant venues and this and that, it's going to lose all the family-ness that
But
made us love it in the first place. And it's going to jump the shark in 2 seconds, and he's going to fucking ruin everything he's built.
Well, hold on.
Such is life.
No.
No, it doesn't have
No,
to be. He has enough
Then
money
let's
that
not have AI, so it won't ruin society.
he never. That's the difference between Joe Rogan. He has fuck you money, so he never has to sell out like that. But it's almost like he's putting himself in a position that there's going to be no choice.
No, but Simon, think about it this way. Like right now, you cannot. It's so hard to get into the mothership.
Yeah.
And it's increasingly harder by the day.
Yep.
So there is an argument where if he opened 1 or 2 more of them, I get it. Don't have them in every city.
No, he's doing it in Austin.
No, I think the Comedy Cellar has opened up like 4 other clubs in the city.
His plan is to open up. He's going to buy a theater, so they have their own theater.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't think that's a good idea. Then he's going to open up another comedy shop. And the thing I did think was a good idea is to do a mothership comedy festival. That makes sense. So everybody who can't get into the mothership gets a chance to come and do this festival because it's so huge. It'll be 7 days or whatever.
But then they need the theater for that. The theater's better for that. If you're going to have a mothership comedy festival, you do the smaller shows at the actual mothership, and you do the big ticket shows at the theater that you've bought. You also then have a theater that's constantly set up to film specials. It has all the right angles. All the cameras are already set up.
You know
the
what?
lighting is bang
You're
on.
probably right, but it's just, I'm telling you right now, it's going to jump the shark. They're going to put out too many
disagree.
specials. They're going to push too many people forward, people who aren't ready. It's going to become a whole kill Tony.
But hold on, but that already happens. Netflix already has 1,000 specials you will never watch.
Yeah, but Joe doesn't have his name attached to them.
Doesn't matter.
All right. I feel like you're just being difficult.
I'm not. I honestly
And
think
that
this
if you
is a
were
good
really
idea.
like a fan of Joe Rogan, you wouldn't think this was a good idea.
Look,
Why
guys,
more?
I gotta
the
make
more,
a point.
Okay, go ahead.
It is really like if we talk about the Comedy Cellar or the Comedy Store, they've been there for 30, 40 years, whatever.
Yep.
The Mothership's been there for 4 years.
5 minutes.
So, like you always say, to jump to the conclusions, we've got to see what happens. I think it always is the natural thing for business to expand. And like I said, listen to these guys from the first time they did Protect Our Parks was great and everything. And it's just this thing that we always wonder, do you want to hear people talk about just how much they're killing it? No. And can it get, is there too big to fail? Because the Comedy Store has come through.
Who's your favorite rapper?
Kanye.
So you have no problem listening to people talk about bullshit all the time.
Yeah, we want that from our rappers. We don't want it
Yeah,
from our
man.
comedians.
What the fuck?
Comedians are supposed to
Were
be
you born
self-deprecating.
yesterday?
Haven't you ever heard comedy before?
Pile on.
Like, there's
Simon?
nothing funny about a guy getting up there and telling you how rich he is.
Have you ever heard "Father Stretch My Hands" by Kanye West?
No, I'm sure I haven't.
No.
But but you're not, like, you hear what I'm saying, right? Rap and comedy are not the same thing at all.
In a way, they are.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really good braggadocious comedian.
In a way they are. I
Pat
mean,
Williams.
Sorry, I take it back. Yeah, Simon. Hit the bricks.
What are you talking about?
Well, I was trying to think of a braggadocious comedian.
Why do you have your cup up like that? What is going on
I feel like
here?
it adds to my
No,
intelligence.
put it down because it's right in your face and I can't hear what you're saying.
Cat Williams. No, and I disagree with Matt.
Yes, thank you. Back to disagreeing.
He's
with Matt.
braggadocious in interviews, but his comedy isn't like I'm the best.
That's right. That's right.
But rap, you have to be the best.
Can I read you these lyrics and you might agree with me that like it does matter in rap because you can't say
Hey,
that.
well, say it.
Okay.
And let's see.
Now, if I fuck this model and she just bleached her asshole and I get bleach on my t-shirt, I'ma feel like an asshole.
Okay.
My point is like you don't want to hear that from a rapper either. That's the life Kanye is living now. Is just
Speak for
fucking model.
yourself.
Okay, my point remains. I don't want to hear that from my rappers. I also don't want to hear comedians just talk about how sick their life is.
Yeah,
and
I
all.
don't want to hear that from my rappers
Yeah.
either. The difference is that I mean, in all fairness, most comedians aren't making jokes about how rich they are.
Yeah, who is?
You hear that in the podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the problem, is that before podcasts didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we got to formulate our own version of what we thought these people were like. And now that we actually get to see what they're like, you're like, oh shit, my favorite comedian, the guy I thought was so funny and cool, is actually just a money hungry grubber who could care less about the art form or his fans, the people who made him fit. All they care about is where the next check is coming from. How can I make more money? How can I exploit my fame?
Well, it's
Yada, yada, yada.
It's interesting you say that because if you think about it, like Dave Chappelle never does podcasts. He never does interviews. There was always photos of him with every famous person under the sun. So like you knew Dave Chappelle was living that life.
But that was like my least favorite part of Dave Chappelle, just to tell you, like
Fair
the thing
enough.
I like Chappelle. The thing that always bugged me about him was like the wearing his own clothes and like, just come on, man. Come on.
But
You don't-
branding is part. That's how you get rich.
No, yeah, I think it's the sensibility of Canadians versus Americans. 'Cause
You-
like you said, Kamar, if you had a chance, you do it.
Yeah.
If Bert said, "Come on this tour, sleep on the bus, suck my dick, and fucking do 2 TikToks a day," I would.
Simon, if we had a brand right now that was making money, that's all you'd be wearing. When you guys did Triple Bogey, that's all you were wearing, right? And so the
anyone-
reason
and
was
it didn't make any money.
no, but that's my point. So if we right now had a brand
Yes,
that was
no.
bringing in
100%. 100%. But I would never make a brand called Simon. I guess that's the
If
difference.
you're 24, you might.
But Simon, just hear me out. All the
You're more
most
sensible.
Wait.
Better for worse.
All the most popular brands are named after people, the people that started them.
I mean, I hope anybody doesn't take offense to this.
Sure.
But if you came in wearing like a Dave Chappelle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the C. Yeah.
The C?
Yeah.
I would be like, what the fuck are you doing?
But you're wearing a branded shirt. What kind of sweater is that? It says cool, but that's a brand, right?
Is that Mooks?
Okay. In all fairness,
Yeah.
I bought this because I really liked the script.
Fair enough.
His logo stinks.
Okay.
So if you really like that logo, you stink. Most people are buying it just because they want to be able to say, look, I'm wearing Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Sure.
But you're right. I also wear things that have logos on them. But I will tell you this. If I was famous, I might put out apparel, but it would be fucking cool.
It's like you've been branded by another
Okay?
man.
It wouldn't be fucking stupid. Look
Fair
at
enough.
me. I'm trying to get my name out there. It would be something cool.
Keep in mind, he's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, he obviously did really well for
I'm
himself.
just saying, everything he's done,
Guys, could you
So it
keep
just
my business
probably
out of
means
the
he
podcast?
sold out a little bit.
the customer's always right in matters of taste, Simon.
If that is a problem because the biggest thing in the world is Walmart, and we know that their taste stinks. So that doesn't mean shit. You know
does.
what I mean?
That's why the
You're
saying
appealing
exists.
to like the lowest common
Yeah,
denominator.
well, that's what you're selling to, always.
No, I disagree.
Yes.
That's not what comedians do. I disagree. They do not sell to the lowest common denominator because the lowest common denominator can't usually understand their humor. No, I'm being totally serious.
What about the blue collar comedy tour?
Okay, sometimes, but now you're insulting
I wasn't
blue
saying
collar people.
No, and that's why I was waiting for you to say it because I disagree. I don't think they're idiots. I just think it's a brand of comedy that maybe is different than what you like.
Are we trying to throw the word gimmick around? Because that's necessary for any sort of tour or show.
Okay, you know what? Again, it's just me being a hater, I guess.
Oh.
But you want to know what bothers me the most?
Yeah.
A flame about that high?
This fucking I don't even know what that means. This
You mean a flame about this high?
why?
Excuse me.
What flame?
Easy.
How hot?
How
high? This high?
How tall's a pony?
There he goes. Now he's
Is it hailing outside?
Hey, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, now you're
I
getting
can't
it.
feel anything. That's okay that I do that. That's not okay
Yeah,
that you
I
do
agree.
that, just by
But
the
we
by.
set you up to
What
do
the
it.
fuck was I talking about?
It wasn't important. Branding. You were pissed. You're a hater.
You wish you could get a penis enlargement?
You're 5'2".
Oh, yes. Thank you, Kumar. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, right. What bugs me the most, besides Kumar's terrible jokes, when you can clearly see that somebody's being cheesy, and yet tons of people like it because they're stupid. So it becomes popular.
Crocs.
And then people like you
No, don't
are
do that.
like,
Don't do that. Don't do that. This
it's
is why I
cool
call you a
because
Jew.
a lot of people like it. And you're like, can you not see how fucking corny this is? Just because the masses are stupid doesn't make this cool. It makes it even cornier. And the fact that people can't see that, it like enrages me.
It's weird that this
That's your
started with
God
the
complex.
Chappelle wearing his own logo on a special. That this is what fired you up.
Follow me at Kamar Babar.
It's not,
for all
it's
merch.
not, it's
Simon,
not.
you're old too, right? You realize that? Like when you were young, you wore baggy pants.
Hold on,
Everyone wore baggy pants. You still wear baggy pants because you wore them when you were young and they were cool. Stop. Everyone wore baggy pants.
Because
you ran
you
with
are
the crowd.
welfare,
People
you
your
can't
age,
afford it.
people your age at the time are like, this is so fucking stupid. All these stupid idiots are just rolling with the crowd. You see what I'm saying?
Here, I'll tell you the difference. Okay. When my dad was my age,
Yeah.
he was a nerd.
Okay.
I am pretty cool. No, I'm telling you, like subjectively.
Take your hat off and say that.
I've got a rude awakening for you. The second you claim to have any sort of cool,
It's all evaporated.
you are not.
No.
Because I've been saying I'm cool for.
Yeah. I at least have the wherewithal to know I'm
and
not
I-
cool at all.
Every time I say I'm cool, I become less cool and more of a fucking loser.
I am still aware of things that go on in the zeitgeist of people younger than me.
I thought
So I'm
the same.
able
I
to
agree with that,
converse
yeah.
with
No, you're not. Don't do this.
You have no riz.
I'm able to converse
On
with
God?
the youngsters.
No.
Much
No,
more
no. No,
fervently
you're not. No, you're
than
not.
somebody like my father at the same age because he was too busy being an adult. I watch TikTok. Like I'm one of the kids.
I'm finna to show you you don't know shit about shit.
Okay, I know what Riz means.
No, I think we're all.
What does it mean?
It's a brutal trap that
It's a type of rolling paper.
exactly. it's so hard to let go of whatever idea of what was relevant.
And I don't appreciate that hot comment, by the way.
And say from 17 to 27, you are the tastemaker. You feel like you got your finger on the pulse, for sure. Some people could do it longer, but
For all you know, I have a beautiful. I have a bad haircut that I'm trying to hide. Okay, so fuck off.
yeah, Matt, I'm gonna have to condemn you for that.
Yeah,
that was inappropriate.
Oh, he'll be condemned.
Fuck that. He laughed.
Through the comments.
He laughed right away.
No,
Fuck
you've
that.
been condemned.
Oh,
Well, because it's so true. The second I said it, and you said that, I was like, yeah, you're right.
It was not nice.
Simon, keep in mind, I'm in the same boat. Like I do trivia, and the young people
Even better, my
shots
dad could
fired.
never wear a baseball cap. He wasn't cool enough.
There you go.
So
Touche.
there you go.
Yeah,
Touche.
you rock. You pull it off.
Okay, then here we're at. It's better that these guys are on than Sober October.
I don't hate that
Be
these
it
guys are
resolved.
on.
Be it
Listen,
resolved.
Be it resolved. We got everything we asked for. We said get rid of Sober October and bring on Dishevelment.
Drunk as fuck weekly.
Drunk as Funk December. Yeah.
And I love all these guys, but there's a little bit of me that feels like this thing is going to have a what's it called, market correction, or they just keep going to the moon and it is what
They
it is.
need more guys like Shane. And unfortunately, most people aren't like Shane. Shane will become the biggest thing in the world and still remain one of the boys. Most of these guys aren't able to do that because they get money. And listen, I may be wrong and Shane may end up becoming a douchebag. Who knows?
comedy.
But most of them become so involved in the money part of it that they lose total touch with the thing that made them cool and fun and relatable, which I think is the biggest one in the first place. And listen, that's why fucking people stopped fucking with Tom Segura. That's why people stopped fucking with
I don't think
Bert
getting too worked up
Kreischer.
here.
No.
Slow down.
That's why
One
comedy
guy tells you that's happening, but they're still doing
That's
it.
why comedy fans stopped fucking with Tom Segura and with Bert Kreischer. They may have more fans now, but those aren't comedy fans. Those are like fans of the fact that they've gotten big enough to be part of the zeitgeist.
Do you feel like you are a comedy fan?
Yeah, 100%.
More so than
Not-
the normal Joe.
Yeah, way more so than the normal Joe.
But you wouldn't go see Tom Segura right now.
I would not go see Tom Segura right now
Why?
because I'm not loving Tom Segura right now.
Just because of his podcast.
Just because I don't, especially
wanna support that machine.
Everything I've seen of him lately, I don't find that funny. If he puts out a special and it's like one of the old ones and it makes me laugh, it's like I would never pay money to go see Bert Kreischer. That's
Fair enough.
insane.
Again?
That's insane.
Again?
What do you mean again?
Oh, you've never seen him?
No, nor will I ever.
You paid him. Oh, it was Jim McAfrican. Yeah. Well, I love you guys, and
Rate the episode.
I give it a 3
I give it a 3.
because the Doug Stanhope. Maybe that's a new. I don't know.
I'll give it a 3 point. I'll give it a 3 and we'll just hit the button. That's fine.
Look at that.
We have an agreement.
You know how I hate giving those whole numbers.
All right, gang, that is a show. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Maybe you're willing to go a step further. There's a Patreon. If you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5 a month, you will get the post show, the show after show we shoot the shit. You'll get old episodes of some dumb shit we did, a bunch of other dumb shit we did. We appreciate your support. We hope you guys have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open.
and happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Independence
And we're
Day.
really sorry. This was our worst episode ever, but
Blame Kamar.
we'll get you back next time.
Yeah, keep your eyes open.